podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Networks on Saturday, April 10th, 2021. This is episode 1786. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by Gabby Insurance. Put your policy to the test like I did. Get a better insurance with Gabby. It's totally free to check and there's no obligation. Go to gabby.com/techguy. And by Linode. Simplify your cloud infrastructure and cut your cloud bills in half. Get started on Linode today with $100 in free credit. Text TWIT to 474747 or visit linode.com/techguy and click on the Create Free Account button to get started. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the Tech Guy. It's time to talk tech. You know, computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, smart cars, you know, that kind of stuff. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you want to talk high tech. I'd love to talk it with you. High tech. Let's talk about it. 888-827-5536. That's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still reach me, but it's you can't use your phone. You have to use Skype or something that can call a phone number. And I'd love to hear from people all over the world. So please, by all means, let's hear from you. 8888 Ask Leo. If you're listening to the show and I say something provocative, something that you just go, what did he just say? What did he just say? If I say something provocative, good news. You can easily comment on the website. You don't have to call the show. You could just leave a comment at techguylabs.com, and there's no charge for that. There's no obligation, no cost, no salesman will call. 8888 Ask Leo. techguylabs.com. Those are the things you need to remember. Actually, truthfully, you don't even have to remember the phone number because it's on the website. So really, just remember techguylabs.com. Every answer to all the questions will appear there. There's a good search. We break it down. Each show has its own page. Each page has its own segments, hour 1, 2, and 3. Within each hour, 4 segments, 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can figure it out from there. Just drill right down. And there's no charge, no admission fee. This is episode 1786. That'll help you find it. 1786. So we now know, I mean, we always knew, but we now know for sure officially why Apple has never made its Messages app for Android. I wish they would. I wish they would. What I'm really looking for, but now I guess I'm an unusual fella because I use both an Android phone and an iOS phone. Nobody does that. That's cuckoo. I just do it because I need to kind of keep up with both. So I have special needs. I want a messaging program I can use on both. That can be the default on both. So when I get a text message on one, I can see it on the other and vice versa. That would be nice, but that's not going to happen. I think a lot of people who use Apple's messages want there to be an Android version because of other family members. You know, there's always pressure if you're an Android user to get with the program and get an iPhone because you're a green bubble. And the green bubbles don't have equal, they don't have parity, you know. If somebody marks a message, ha ha, you see on the iPhone, you see a ha ha. On the Android phone, you see, you know, Leo said ha ha. Oh, that's boring. Same thing. If I get balloons, you know, on messages to blow up, oh, it's cool. On the Android phone, it just says Leo sent balloons or balloons showed up or something stupid. It's all text. So you can text each other, but it's not the same. And Apple now, and we're finding this out because of the Apple Epic lawsuit. This is when this stuff always comes out. Because, you know, in lawsuits, you get to do something called discovery. I'm going to discover all your secrets. And in discovery, they get things like emails and so forth, and then also you can ask the other guys in for depositions. And I guess during depositions, Apple executives said, yeah, we thought about it. We worked on a version of iMessage, our messages program for Android, but then we decided against it. Why? Craig Federighi, Senior Vice President of Software Engineering, said, quote, iMessage on Android would simply serve to remove an obstacle to iPhone families giving their kids Android phones. We don't want them to do that. Moving to Phil Schiller, Director of Marketing at the time, now an Apple Fellow, in an email said, the number one, this is a quote, most difficult reason to leave the Apple universe is iMessage. iMessage amounts to serious lock-in. Moving the iMessage to Android will hurt us more than help us. Hey, it's a smoking gun. I think that's a smoking gun. So we knew that anyway. There's no technical reason. Apple admits it. We don't do it because we want to lock people into iPhones. And particularly, and this is really nefarious, in a family where everybody's using iPhones, we don't want them to give cheap $50 Android phones to the kids. We want them to buy the $400 iPhone SE. That's better for us. Maybe not better for the family. We always knew this, but now we have proof. It's too bad because this is, and it's important to understand, this is kind of, for a lot of people, this is when the scales fall from their eyes and they become wise to the ways of the world. The truth is out there. It turns out your interests as a human being do not necessarily match their interests as a company, as a corporation. And in fact, this is a perfect example because as human beings, as a society, it would make sense for everybody to use the same messaging platform. Hallelujah. Wouldn't that be awesome? And, in a lot of cases, the family says, we're going to, the hell with that, we're going to use WhatsApp. But you can't, see, on an iPhone, you can't make WhatsApp the default messaging platform. You still, no matter what, on an iPhone, you have to use Messages if you want to get text messages, period. There's no choice. Android, you can choose, not on an iPhone. So, Apple's got you. That's good for Apple. Makes them more money. Keeps people from buying the other stuff. But I would submit it's not so good for the rest of us, for, society in general. And Apple, let's face it, you may love Apple, and I love Apple. I remember when I pressed my nose against the glass at the Apple store and I saw that first Lisa and I said, boy, that's a computer I'd want. How much? $10,000. Never mind. Then they came out with the Mac, 1984, pressed my nose against the glass in the window, said, how much? $2,500. I got a credit card. Bought it at Macy's. Paid for it for years. But I got it. And at the time, it was the computing for the rest of us. It was amazing. Apple fans, Mac, because it was just the Mac at the time. There wasn't the Mac fans just, were loyal. And that kind of kept going after the iPhone came out, and the iPad, the iPod, let's not forget. People were loyal. People loved the company. But it's important. Reality sets in. I'm sorry. It's just the way it is in the world. I hate to be the person to ruin your innocence. But these companies, that's all they really care about. They don't care about you. You may love Apple. Apple doesn't love you. Apple loves your money. And they want to put as much of your money in their pockets as they possibly can. And it's not just Apple, it's everybody. Oh, they may pretend. They may act. Apple's great at that. The computer for the rest of us. Think different. This is the intersection of of arts and sciences. We're better than anybody else. But, they're just a company. And now we know the truth. I hope that didn't break your heart. It's hard, isn't it? The way of the world. We're going to go to the phones in a second. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Let's talk high tech. Yeah, WhatsApp. But see, WhatsApp isn't going to solve the problem if you get a text message to your iPhone, and that's the problem. I did enjoy my vacation. Thank you, Aaron. So this came up for me. This is between you and me. We don't talk about this in the show, but this came up for me this week because I'm in Calistoga over in Napa Valley, and I can't text anybody on my Android device. It's like, what happened? And then I found out I'm using Google Fi, and Google has Hangouts just stopped working. That was the text messaging app I was using on Google Fi. Google says, well, just use Android messages. It's just like Apple Messages, except it doesn't work on an iPhone. So what I need and want, and I found, is a way on my iPhone to get both messages to the iPhone, but also messages to the Android number, because that's the number I give out, the Fi number. That's the one I use for, on my business card and stuff. And I need to get messages. And I didn't have I didn't bring the Android phone with me. So it was like, so when I got back, I searched for and found a text messaging app I could make default on Android. That's key, right? Because you want it to get all the SMSs. And has an app, and I can run it simultaneously on my Mac, my PC, my Linux boxes. It even has a Linux app. I love that. Unfortunately, you can't with iOS. They won't let... Apple says, no, the guy they made it is named Luke Klinker, no, you can't, even though you have an app for iOS, we won't approve it because it requires an Android device. It's like, anti-competitive much? So there's a web-based version of it I can use. It's not great on my iPhone. So I'm using Pulse. Can you hear me? Kim Schaffer, Phone Angel. Hey, Kim.
I do not know that song.
I do not either. But I think it has a fine, funky synthesizer beat.
It does. Very 80s.
How are you, Kim?
I'm good.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now you wear your Easter egg colors. Today.
Well, last week I was wearing a tie-dye that looked very much like an Easter egg color. But yeah, this was my other choice for last week.
I could have dipped you. You could just dipped you in those. It's funny. We don't have small children at the moment. We're in between, where the kids are grown, but the grandkids haven't arrived. So I didn't do dipping.
You scared me with the at the moment.
At the moment. Well, eventually you get grandkids, then you get back to dipping Easter eggs. In those, I can smell the smell.
Oh, yeah, that vinegar?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I can just smell it.
It's not a good smell.
What is it? What do they call them? Yaz? What is it? What's the name for that Easter egg? Anyway, I don't know. What are we talking Easter for? It's over. Why don't you tell me who to talk to?
Let's go to Sam in San Diego. I think you might be able to answer her question in about 5 seconds.
And if not...
Because I answered the reverse of the question, and I hope that the answer... Well, I don't know if I hope the answer's the same for her sake.
Okay. But if not, we'll just move to San Diego and help her.
Yeah.
Because that
would be fun, because I'd like to go to San Diego right now.
I love San Diego. Hi, Sam. Thank you, Kim. Hi, Sam. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hi, Leo. It's a pleasure to speak with you, and come on down to San Diego anytime. We'd love to have you.
Oh, we go down as often as we can. We like to stay at the Hotel Del down there in Coronado.
Cool. Like to stay there, yeah.
It's so pretty. It's so old-fashioned. I wear my striped tankini when I get on the beach there, and handlebar mustache. It's perfect. What can I do for you?
I saw you out there.
Yes, that was me.
Hey, I'm looking for the perfect set of noise-canceling earbuds, and this is now my second pair. I'm trying something else. I first bought the Sonys, and they didn't last long enough, so I returned those. So now I thought, hey, Samsung, I have a Samsung phone. Let me try these Pros, which they're great so far, but I can't find a way to link them to my iPad. And the app...
Oh, yeah, they're Bluetooth. They'll work with your iPad.
Okay.
So you have to put them in pairing mode.
Yep.
And I think on the Samsungs, you press and hold the left ear until it says pairing, looking for connection. Who are the voices they put in those earbuds? They're strange people. Looking for connection. And then you on your iPad, you go into the Bluetooth settings and you wait until the Bluetooth is kind of a nightmare, okay? You wait until you see Samsung pods or buds or whatever they call buds, I guess they call. And then I have a pair of the original ones, and you just wait, and eventually it shows up, and then you tap it, and they'll go connected, and then you're done.
Well, that sounds pretty simple. So I don't use the app because on my phone.
No, you don't need the app. No,
well, that's what I was doing.
They want you to use the app, but Bluetooth is standard, so you don't have to use the app.
Okay, well, that's very simple. All right, then. Well, thanks so much for your help, and I hope to see you in that bathing suit.
Give me a review, too, because you're looking, noise canceling is what you want, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just curious. Of course, everybody gets on iPads, everybody gets the AirPod Pro. I don't think earbuds are all that good for noise canceling, to be honest with you. I use the Jabra Elites, and I like those a lot.
Okay.
And I think that they do a good job. I don't use the Samsungs I have do not have the Galaxy Buds or the original ones. I do not have the noise canceling on them. So
it's been pretty good, I have to say.
Okay.
The noise canceling itself. Now, I'm a big Bose fan, and those will be.
Well, they make them. They're expensive. Yeah.
Exactly. But these were already $200, and I think the Bose are maybe $300.
Yeah.
So I'm already kind of there. So
Bose invented all of this way back when with the Quiet Comfort headphones, and they put them in. Yeah, they put them in their earbuds. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I'm looking at reviews, and in fact, Tom's Guide says the Bose is the best, followed by the Jabra, which I like, and then AirPods, and then Samsung Galaxy Buds. But it's a very personal thing, and it's the kind of noise you want to cancel and all that. So I would just try them all.
It looks like I can say. So thanks for your help. I really appreciate it.
All right, thanks. You're welcome. Yeah, I don't know why. A lot of these things come with apps. Well, I know why. I can take it back. I do know why. Bluetooth doesn't need an app to work. You don't need an app. But everybody wants to get an app on your smartphone. Why, you might ask? Well, now once Apple comes out with these privacy requirements, which is going to happen any day now in 14.5 of iOS, you'll be able to look and see exactly why they want an app on your phone, because apps know all, and they want all that information. It's useful for them for marketing their own products, and many companies sell it on to other marketing companies. I don't mind. I don't care. I have 300 apps on my phone, and they all say Leo's at work now. So what? I think a few more people know I'm at work. Who cares? It just annoys me that they act like you have to use the app. And then they put in kind of some bogus features to help you. There are a few things on some headphones the app's useful for. Scott Wilkinson has talked about it. Some headphones will do noise canceling in the app, and you can tune it. And some headphones even will do they'll do an audio ear check, and then adapt the sound of the headphones to your ears, your particular hearing. I think those are useful, but you only have to use them once, set the earbuds, and then you can get rid of the app and just use Bluetooth from then on. So it's, and Dr. Mom points out also firmware updates. But you don't have to have the app to use it. And so you could use the app, update the thing, set the noise cancellation level, set the frequency response, and then just get rid of the app. Okay. Doug M. I'm watching the chat room. Doug M. in the chat room says, well, the app is the only way to see the battery level on some. And that's a good point. The app will tell you battery level. Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Speaking of Scott Wilkinson, he's our home theater geek. He's coming up in just a few minutes. We'll talk about home theater with him, and we'll continue to take your calls. And you can yell at me at the website, techguylabs.com. I feel like everybody in the world wants an app on your phone, and I know why. They want to be on your front page, too. It's a big old ad. Oh, man, I love my new computer. I kind of missed it in Calistoga. I decided not to bring the 55-inch monitor with me. But, man, I'm playing Valheim right up to the moment I have to leave for work. But I did make a deal with myself, which I think is a good deal. I told Lisa, I said, this is the deal. I can't play Valheim unless I've exercised first. I'm not to the point where I'd say like half an hour of exercise means half an hour of Valheim. No. But I can't sit down because, Valheim, you sit down and it's 3 hours later, you look up and you go, what happened? Hello, Scotty.
Hello, Leo.
How are you today?
Doing great. How about you?
Good. You're on the Zoom. The Zoom looks good.
Good.
We're going to zoom. You can stay tuned for the top of the hour.
Oh, yeah.
Then we're good.
Absolutely.
Dr. Mom says a half hour exercise equals 10 minutes of gaming. That's no good. I have a Peloton, but you can't play a game while you Peloton. You have to pay attention to the Pelotoneers who are leading you through it. You can't just sit there and pedal. You got to do a thing. I did a thing this morning. Did my Peloton this morning. Yeah. I didn't gain any weight on vacation, which is good. I actually lost a little bit, which is good.
Oh, that's good.
I tried to adhere to my...
I love Calistoga.
Oh, yeah. So we got married at the Calistoga Ranch. And I told you, it's burned to the ground. It's gone.
Yeah.
It's a hole in the ground. And apparently they don't have plans to rebuild it, I found out, which is really a bummer. So there's different places in Calistoga. The place we stayed for years, we'd always bring the kids because they had the best pool, is Indian Springs. They have a warm pool fed by the springs, plus it's huge. It's Olympic size, so it's a really nice. And so we went there because we could socially distance and all that. And it was nice. But it's a little expensive, and there's some negatives to it. It's got a nice restaurant. Calistoga is getting very upscale. It's getting more like, a Napa Valley place.
Is Dr. Wilkinson still there?
Yeah, Dr. Wilkinson's. They call it Dr. W's now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dr. W's. Because Wilkinson's a lot of syllables. Here we go.
That's true.
Hey, what is hip? This guy's hip. He's the home theater cat. Mr. Scott Wilkinson, contributor to Tech Hive, and joins us every week to talk about big screen TVs and speakers systems and all that jazz. Hello, Scotty.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm good. What's up in your home theater world?
Oh, well, we got some big news today. Maybe not such big news. The chat room has been alight with it. That Logitech has decided to stop making Harmony universal remotes.
Whoa. What?
Yep.
That was the king of the hill.
It was the king of the hill. Everybody thought it was the best universal remote, and they were right. I agree with them 100%. I have several myself.
They must have a reason. It mustn't be selling, right?
Well, they said it was... it was a small business. The CEO or somebody at Logitech was quoted as saying, it's a small business.
You know what they make a lot of money on these days is those cameras. Everybody had to buy one for Zoom.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That was
I had to try and find one last year, and it was hard. But anyway, so Logitech Harmony remotes, apparently the business has been failing or going down, declining, I should say. Probably because of the rise of voice control, although they did integrate Alexa and I think Google Assistant, somebody in the chat room will correct me if I'm wrong, into their remotes. But people just aren't using universal remotes as much anymore, apparently. Now, they did say that they will continue to support the products that are out there, and they will continue to sell them until their inventory runs out, and they will continue to support users. So, all is not lost entirely, but they're just not going to make any more new ones or develop any more new ones.
Huh.
Now,
they make speakers, too, that are very popular. They bought Cambridge Soundworks, I think, right?
That's a good question. I don't know about that. I have to look that up.
So they make computer speakers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Cambridge Soundworks actually makes some really good stuff. So if
they used to, but then they got acquired. I don't know.
Well, yeah, okay. So used to is probably the more
used to, like a long time ago. Scott, you're showing your age.
Yeah, well, you and me both, pal.
Yeah. Hey, knock it off. Knock it off. So, it was founded by Henry Kloss. That's one of the reasons it was.
Well, yeah.
It was so good.
Anyway.
I'm sorry. They were bought by Creative Labs. That's who bought them.
Okay.
And now, as of last year, the Cambridge Soundworks website redirects to theunce.com.
Oh, you know what? The Unce is a little Bluetooth speaker.
Yeah, that's right.
And I have to say, I didn't review it, but my wife bought one just, for $20 or something off of Amazon to have something in her office. And I listened to it and I went, wow.
Really?
For $20, that's amazing.
It goes, unce. It's a good name. It's a really good name.
It's a really good name, yeah. Anyway, I was astonished at how good it is.
Well, it's kind of the descendant, I guess, of Cambridge Soundworks. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, it's got some DNA in it, I guess.
Some DNA. So Logitech, I guess. I mean, I'm trying to think. It's actually an interesting company because they originally made mice.
Yes.
They were founded in Switzerland by, I think, Niklas Wirth, the guy who created Pascal. He wanted Pascal for his mice. I'm gonna have to look this up, but it's my memory. Mm-hmm. And they were one of the first manufacturers and sellers of mice, but they really have branched out.
Oh, they branched out big time.
Yeah.
And boy, when Harmony first came out, I was so amazed and happy with it because basically it's a universal remote, right? And there were plenty of them out there. A bunch of companies made them, but to program them, to get them to work with your specific equipment was a big old pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And Harmony came up with this brilliant idea they set up a database, an online database with the remote
It was so clever. Yeah.
Of all these different devices. And so when you bought a Harmony remote, you'd go online, you'd plug it in with USB to your computer. You'd go online, you say, I've got this piece of equipment, I got this AV receiver and this TV and this DVD player or whatever. And it would program your remote for you, essentially. And you would tell it, okay, when I want to watch TV, I want you to turn on the TV, turn on the AV receiver, turn it to this input. And if I want to watch DVD, turn the AV receiver to the right input, turn on the DVD player and so on. And it would just do it. You didn't have to think about macros. Do you remember macros?
Oh, or you had to remember you had to teach universal remotes. You point them one at the other.
Yes,
that was so stupid.
Put them up one next to the other, and they would teach it. It's IR code.
Says at least for now they're going to keep the database going. Because
exactly.
I think without the database,
it's worthless.
It's really pretty worthless. Do you think it's a reflection on not just Logitech, the company, but the general market for universal remotes? Maybe it must be just gone.
Yes.
Why?
I think that,
what replaced it?
Well, voice commands for one.
Oh, well, that could be.
Alexa and Google Assistant.
I bet you, you and I had universal remotes, but most people probably, it didn't add to your quality of life, frankly.
Well, I'm not sure I would agree with that because you remember the term coffee table clutter?
Yeah. But still with the Harmony, it was a lot of futzing. To me, the Harmony remote is in the same category as home automation, It's a lot of futzing around, a lot of work. It kind of sort of works, and then sometimes it doesn't. I always had a problem because TV sets don't have an on or off switch anymore. They just have one button that toggles, and it always confuses the heck out of the Logitech because there's no off, there's no on, So it has to know, is the TV on?
Well, there's 2 points I want to make about that. One is, even though there's a toggle switch on the TV's own remote, very often TVs will have separate commands for on and off. But even if they don't, even if there's one command that says power, and if you send it and it's off, it turns on. And if it's on, it turns off. Harmony came up with a brilliant solution to that called synchronization. And if you were out of sync, that is, you wanted to turn the TV on and it already was, somebody else had turned it on earlier. And
the reason it's a problem is because you program big, long chains of commands, and one of them is turn the TV on. You want to run all of it, but you just want to skip that thing.
Right. Exactly. Well, you can't, when it screws up like that, you can just hit, a sync button and it'll say, should the TV be on and it's off? And you say yes. And
again,
boom,
my point. it's a little overcomplicated. I think also what's happened with the advent of streaming, people have a Roku. They pick it up.
Exactly.
They turn on the TV. They turn on the Roku with one thing. They press the Netflix button and they're done. Yeah. And some of these you can talk to. So I just feel like
this was another point that was made in the article, actually on Tech Hive today or yesterday, that said streaming was one of the nails in the
streaming plus, as the chat room is saying, CEC, that thing that if one device comes on, the whole TV. You don't like. I know it's not reliable.
CEC is not at all
on my
reliable.
LG OLED. I have an Apple TV, I have a Nintendo Switch, and I have an Xbox. And if I pick up the remote for any one of those, it turns on the TV and switches to that HDMI input. Right. That eliminates the need for a universal remote.
It does. It absolutely does.
So I think probably Logitech has seen the writing on the wall. It's kind of sad.
Yeah.
They had a great product.
It is kind of sad. I love the Harmony. I still have them, but...
Yeah. Scott Wilkinson, home theater geek. You'll find his writing at techhive.com. And, of course, you'll find him lurking around here every week. But we're glad he's here. Thank you, Scott. We'll see you next time. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. This will be a good time to talk about Gabby. What a story I could share with you with Gabby. I'm sure you've seen the ads. I saw the ads. And the timing couldn't have been better. Because we got a letter from our home insurance company saying we're going to raise your rates $8,000. And Lisa went, wild. Oh, my God, this is crazy. We got to find another insurer. And I said, no problem, honey. I'll shop around. Boy, was that a mistake. You go, first of all, they're very clever, these companies. They make it so hard to shop around. So you go to the website, you create an account, you got to fill in all this information. On average, you're 1,100 keystrokes per, and there's, how many? 40 or more insurance companies. And then it's you can't compare them really because it's apples to oranges because of the way they do it. They make it very hard for you to say, well, no. This is, it's just complicated. Mostly you're going to end up talking to somebody at the insurance company and they're going to put a sales pitch on you and it's crazy. But I had seen these Gabby ads. I thought, well, we ought to try the Gabby. We did. Very easy. You log into your current insurance, by the way, home and auto. You give them your account credentials so that way they can get all the underwriting information for your current insurance, which is important because they want all the details, right? Then they have persuaded many of these companies, 40 of the best, Progressive, Nationwide, Travelers, many more, to do an API so that they can literally, in like a couple of minutes, go and check all of them with the information they have from your current account and shop. They came back. They said, we can save you money. Actually, they saved us $2,000, but actually, they saved us $8,000 in increase plus the $2,000. Really, we got the same coverage. It's free to use. They are very careful with your privacy, so don't worry about giving them your login and all that. On average, Gabby customers save $961 a year. They never sell your info. No annoying spam and robocalls. I can vouch for that. And like I said, it's ridiculous to do this yourself. They do it so fast. Within a couple of minutes, they come back. You then give them more. There's a little bit of a back and forth, I should tell you. But basically, they save you. We save much more than double what the average. We save $2,000. And this is another nice thing. They said your car insurance is the best you could get. We can't save you money on that. You're getting a great deal. That was nice to know, too. Put your policy to the test like I did. Get a better insurance with Gabi. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligation. Go to Gabi.com/techguy. Gabi, Gabi.com/techguy. A+. Highly recommended. You got to try it. Gabi.com/techguy. Yeah, Logitech was founded in Switzerland by Pierluigi Zappacosta and Giacomo Marini and Stanford alumni Daniel Borrell.
I remember the first time a PR person came to my house and said, we want to show you something new. We want to show you this Harmony.
Yeah, boy, was that a breakthrough. And they bought it. That was, at that time, probably not Logitech. That was probably Harmony itself.
No, they had their own company.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the sad thing. I didn't realize this, but they have acquired Blue microphones. So
really?
They own the Yeti and all those that you see all the time.
Oh, the Yeti's has been great. I hope it stays great.
They own Streamlabs. They acquired Astro Gaming. They have a lot of gaming stuff. Mm-hmm. So they've got, I think, mice, cameras,
gaming headphones,
and microphones. Yeah, I think they probably that's the
bulk of their business, I would assume. Yeah.
All right, all yours.
Thank you very much. And Beatmaster, you're exactly right. Modern CEC, as Leo pointed out there near the end, did make it somewhat obsolete. CEC still can be problematic, but I suppose it's improving with time, as everything does. So hello, everybody. So nice to see you all. Happy Saturday. Dr. Mom Grandma says, what about if, like me, I use the receiver to control all the devices? Well, does the receiver issue commands to the TV and everything?
Yeah, I think nowadays a lot of remotes, this is true of the Apple TV, they'll say, okay, do you want to set up the TV now? And so a lot of the remotes now are basically universal.
Basically universal. Yeah, that's true. That is true. Mike B says CEC works great with my Samsung TV and Apple TV. So there you go. Like time marches on. Demo says, I have several different models of the Unz speakers, and I have found them to be excellent. Yeah, I was so amazed. And only recently, like I said, my wife bought the $20 one, which was, almost throwaway. And now I've recently learned that they make others, some of which are more expensive. I was going to write you about them. Oh, thanks, Demos. And in fact, as you say, I was going to consider one of the larger models for review, the Angle 3 Pro. And it also won't break the bank. How much is it, Demos? As I recall, it was maybe something on the order of $80.
Yeah, the Pro's $90.
$90? Okay.
The Angle 3 Ultra SUP speaker and mount, $55. The Golf speaker and mount, $45.
I am definitely going to put that in my...
the Angle Solo, which is $21.
She has the Angle Solo. It looks like it has a profile like a triangle.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And
it's amazing.
Red, white, blue, and black.
Now, this will be really interesting to do against the one I'm currently reviewing. I've actually just reviewed one, and I'm doing another one that are $700. Wow. One from Sony. Using their 360 reality audio technology.
That's cool.
And,
maybe.
The idea is cool.
Yeah. Well, that's what the Apple HomePod was supposed to be. It had tweeters all the way around. So,
exactly. Well, I have to tell you, my review of the Sony is on Tech Hive, and it was posted, I guess, last week.
Oh, good.
I didn't highlight it with you here today because... pretty bad review. And I suppose, it's worth pointing out that, a bad review on a $700 speaker.
Yeah. Can you stay tuned to the top?
Yeah, sure.
Leo Laporte, the tech guy, jamming, man. I'm jamming with the band. 88 Ask Leo. John's on the line from Solana Beach. Our next caller. Hi, John.
Hey, Leo, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good. I remember the Mac Lisa. I had one in 1984.
So jealous.
And at work, and it was so powerful. We took it in the lab and ran all kinds of things.
Oh, man. I remember drooling over that until I saw the price tag. I wish I could have convinced my work to get it.
It was aerospace back then.
Yeah. So you were using it for design and stuff? Calculations? Yeah, scientific calculations.
Yeah, and also hooking up electronic devices out in the lab.
Very cool. Yeah, $10,000 for lab equipment's nothing.
Nothing. So I had a question, and we just bought a house in Lake Arrowhead, and we're going through renovating.
Nice.
And we're coming up to the, and that's in California. And so we have a like a coffee table with the TV on it, and we've got Spectrum. You wrote
cable, yeah.
We have Spectrum cable, and that's it.
Yeah.
And internet. No, we don't have Spectrum cable. We just have internet.
Spectrum internet. It's all you need these days.
Yeah.
I wouldn't recommend buying a cable subscription. The cable companies hate it when I say that, but you don't. You just need the internet.
Yeah, and we have a Blu-ray hooked up. We have Bose hooked up.
Oh, you got it. Nice setup.
And Apple and all these things. So we got all these plugs.
Yeah.
And we don't want to do the same thing we did down on Solana Beach for up in Lake Arrowhead. Is there some good entertainment center thing that we could?
Actually, I tell people to get these even if you had plenty of plugs, because a lot of those devices are very sensitive to power surges. I don't know what the power's like in Lake Arrowhead, but I'm going to guess it's maybe a little inconsistent. Sometimes it browns out, goes low, below nominal voltage.
Have a generator.
Oh, you have a generator. Well, that's good.
I have an emergency generator.
But that's for emergencies. So even so that's not running. When it's running, that's probably helpful. But even when you're on the grid, it's going to maybe fluctuate. And that can be death. Low power can be as bad for these devices as high power. So what I generally tell people, actually Scott's still here, so I'll let him weigh in as well. But what I generally tell people is to get a UPS, an uninterruptible power supply. These are battery backup. It will cut over immediately, give you time to get the generator, because there's a few seconds for the generator to power up and come on, I would imagine. It also, though, if you get one that has power conditioning built into it, it will get rid of the lows that the grid might be giving you and the surges that the grid might give you when it comes back, and give you a nice clean sine wave, plus a lot of plugs. So I think that's probably a good idea. I use a variety of different companies. Triplite has been around for a long time, TRIPPLITE.com. Scott, do you have a general recommendation you give people on this kind of stuff?
Oh, what you just said, what you said, Leo. Then another company that I like very much is APS.
Yeah, they've been around for a long time, and they have a little calculator on their website that you can say, this is what I'm going to hook up into it, and it'll tell you how much battery you need, how big one you need. And you can connect. I think power conditioning is going to be as important, frankly, as just getting more plugs. What I don't recommend is going to the hardware store and buying a power strip.
Yes, because that does nothing.
That's what we want to avoid,
Yeah.
So
APC is very good. Triplite is very good.
APC, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. APCC, sometimes they call them.
And this is an uninterrupted power supply with a battery in it.
Yep.
And I'm going to plug that into like a single wall outlet.
That's right. Correct. Everything goes into that.
Yep.
Then that's all I need.
Well, you might need, depending on how many plugs on the UPS, you might need to get a power strip plugged into that, but that's okay because then you're just giving it extra plugs. I use in my Synology NAS something from CyberPower that's quite good.
Oh yeah, I'd forgotten about that.
The CyberPower I use has a battery in it, and it's got 8 plugs, which would be enough to handle what you just described. So that would be another one.
What like that cost?
The Cyber Power I bought wasn't that expensive, about $90, but I think you're going to want to figure out how much juice you need. Mine is not intended to keep anything running for long, and it has a little, it's great for a network attached storage because it has a USB connection, and it works with my Synology. So I plug the Synology into that. I connect the USB. When the power goes out, the battery says to the Synology, okay, I got 15 minutes, shut down. So there's an orderly shutdown.
Graceful shutdown.
Graceful shutdown, and then it's off. And in the meantime, it's conditioning the power. So there's 3 brand names. Any one of those 3 would be fine. The reason I like the APC site is because they have that calculator on the front, which will really tell you exactly, or APS. What is it? APS.
I think it's APC.
APS.
It is APS. I was right.
I don't remember. I don't remember now.
I don't either.
I think it's APC, the APC UPS. That's the confusion.
Yeah.
And if you go to apc.com, American Power Conditioning, I think it is.
Yep.
They'll tell you.
And that has a battery. It tells me how much the battery. So I have to replace the battery occasionally.
Occasionally, every few years. It'll tell you. All of these are very smart now. They have software that will tell you, everything that's going on. You can. I think it's a great idea to get one of these for your home theater because people forget. They get them for their computer maybe, but they forget the home theater you spend just as much, and it's just as sensitive. It's all integrated circuits in there. So brownouts are as bad as surges, and brownouts happen more often,
even
especially
worse.
even worse, especially in a rural area. Because the electrical company, you're running on lines, running across valleys and canyons and stuff. It's just a little bit less reliable than an urban situation.
That'll be great because I can't have my router interrupted very long.
Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be really
Same
great.
thing.
I'll try that. Thank you.
Same thing. You're welcome. Thanks for calling, and thank you, Scott, for sticking around.
Hey, you bet.
Helping out on this one. Turns out chat room's been so useful this hour. Thank you, chat room. Battery Plus sells UPS replacement batteries online, and Home Depot and others will take your old battery for recycling. So, it's another chore, sure, but boy, it's worth it to protect that investment in your home theater system. Costco right now has 900-watt UPS from Cyber Power, which I think is very good, 1,500 volt amps. It does power conditioning, $129. That's a good deal. And let me look at the listing because it probably has enough plugs to do what you want to do. That's one of their nicer ones, and that's a heck of a price. 10 power outlets. 10. Count them. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. We'll put a link to that deal in the show notes at techguylabs.com. And it would now be all yours, Mr. W.
Hey, thank you so very much. I was just, let's see, was just talking with somebody here. Sometimes you have to kind of go, wait, where is this? It was not Scooter or Mike B. Funny. Can't find him now. Bob 12 dozen. 12 dozen. That's a gross, 144. It was asking about portable speakers, good portable speakers. And we were talking about the Unts, and I'm amazed at how good those are for the money. The other one that I recommended to him in the chat room, and I'll mention to everybody else, is from a company you probably never heard of called TronSmart. And I have one of their early models. It's still available. I just looked on the website, called the Element Force. And it's under $60 on Amazon. Little rectangular box. It throws a sound field well beyond its cabinet. I couldn't believe it when I first listened to it and reviewed it, and it's on my reviews on Tech Hive now a year or two ago, a couple of years ago now, I was blown away. Blown away. That he asked about a travel speaker, and that is the one I take when we used to travel, and when we will travel again, my wife and I. That's the one I throw in my suitcase because it's amazing for what it does, and for $60. So either the Unz or the TronSmart, I would say, is the answer there. Virtual Biff is asking, will Jocode ever make an Android app for the hearing assist test? I don't know. I'll ask them. Right now it's only iOS, but I sure would love for them to also have an Android version of that. Absolutely. Let's see. Who else can I talk to here? Mike B makes a good point. One thing to be aware of is that the batteries for UPSs can be difficult to dispose of. Yeah, that's true. I don't know whether or not they can be taken to recycling. Here in Burbank, we can take our batteries to our recycling facility, which I am very grateful for because I run through batteries pretty bad. I don't know if they'll accept UPS batteries, though. That's a very good question. I'll have to find out. Let's see. Oh, Scooter X, thank you for posting the link to my review of the Sony Srs Ra 5000. Somebody earlier had said something about a $700 Bluetooth speaker. Yeah, I'm afraid so. And they've worked 2 years on this. They first introduced the concept of 360 reality audio, they call it, at the 2019 CES. And they had it on headphones, and I actually reviewed the headphone system, and it's great. It works wonderfully well as a headphone virtualization system. But they also wanted to put it on speakers. On a single speaker that you put in the room, and it's supposed to give you an immersive, massive sound field, as if you're at a live concert, so they say. And so they finally sent me one of their speakers, $700 speaker, big, heavy thing that has tweeters that point up and tweeters that go all around you. And there are about 4,000 tracks that are available on streaming sites, Tidal, Deezer, Nugs, and now Amazon Music HD. And those are encoded with 360 reality audio. And what it is basically an object-oriented audio system like Atmos or DTSX. Similar in concept, I'm sure different in implementation. Anyway, so a mixer will remix their songs using a tool that says, I'm going to put the guitar here and the drums over here, and you can place individual sounds anywhere in a 360, in a spherical or hemispherical sound field. And so there are about 4,000 tracks that they've done that to, which is up from 1,000 a year ago. So, some artists are adopting it and embracing it. But I have to say, that speaker just didn't work well. It didn't present a really wide sound field. I got the distinct impression that most of the sound was coming from that speaker sitting there on the table. So, and it also has an upmix feature that will take a stereo track and expand it into this, what they call an immersive sound field. And it does expand the sound field to some degree. But it also radically changes the tonal character of the sound. It just sounds completely different from the stereo. And so whatever they're doing is really changing things that I wish it didn't change. So sorry, Sony, I had to give it a low score and a pretty poor review. And I hate doing that. I'd rather review products that I really am enthusiastic about. But in this case, I just couldn't. Now, I will say this also. I'm now reviewing one by another one of somewhat similar speaker from a company called Clear, C-L-E-E-R, which purports to do something similar. It's a big speaker. It's got some pretty nice design behind it, but it's big. So, it would have to fit in the decor of your room. It's also $700. And from this one speaker, it doesn't do 360 reality audio, but it does give you several sound modes, one of which simulates a stereo sound field, a wide stereo sound field. And another is called 3D, which is supposed to put sounds all around you. It does that using a technology called beamforming. So it has what's called a linear array of drivers, 8 drivers that are in a little bit of a curve, but they're basically linear. And using that with DSP, digital signal processing, you can aim or beam sounds in different directions. And this thing actually works. I'm giving you a little preview here because the review has not yet been published, but I will certainly talk about that on the show when it gets published. Well, it'll get published next week, so yeah, maybe next Saturday I'll talk about it on the show. And that thing is really pretty nice. That one's worth the $700.
Thank you, Scott.
There you go.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. See you next week.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, and all that jazz. 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number. 888-827-5536. It's toll free from anywhere in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you still want to call. You could use Skype or something like that. Anything that'll call a phone number. And it shouldn't cost you anything because, it's toll free. 8888 Ask Leo. We were talking before the break about UPS's uninterruptible power supplies, power conditioning against both surges and brownouts, that kind of thing. And somebody in the chat room said, can you do it for the whole house? And you absolutely can. A lot of companies sell whole house surge protectors. The caller wasn't asking specifically about that. He was just asking. He said, "I only have one plug socket. I need more plugs," and that's what prompted the conversation about not just getting a power strip from the hardware store, but actually getting something a little bit more expensive that would protect his very expensive gear. If you do want to put one in for the whole home, though, it's you'll need an electrician to do it, and they're not horribly expensive. And you can do it now after the fact. It won't solve his particular problem, but it's not a bad idea. I've been meaning to do it for some time. And I imagine, I don't know off the top of my head, but I imagine they even sell battery backups. But that seems prohibitively expensive because remember, your whole house now is going to be running off that battery. You might have to fill the garage with batteries. We use Tesla and other companies, but Tesla's the best known, make giant battery packs for houses. We have a Tesla Powerwall in our house that does actually store up the juice, and if the power goes out, the Powerwall takes over. I suppose combining that maybe with a surge suppressor might not be a bad idea. Anyway, I thought I'd mention it in case you're considering it in your home, but it's not. The question was not about that. Matthew in Memphis, Tennessee is next. Hi, Matthew. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Good afternoon. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for calling.
Had a question about using Dropbox versus a Nas device in an office environment of about 4 or 5 people.
Dropbox is going to be a lot more affordable, a lot more convenient. There are people who don't use Dropbox because there's a large contingent of people who are I don't want to use the word paranoid, fearful about their privacy. And one thing you should know about Dropbox is while they do encrypt it, they hold the keys to the encryption. So a rogue employee at Dropbox could see what you're storing there, which means it's not HIPAA compliant. It might not be compliant with regulations in your industry in terms of security and privacy. You can get around that by encrypting it before you store it in Dropbox. That adds a layer of complexity. But I think Dropbox is affordable. It's easy. You're going to want to get Dropbox for business because you're going to want to have multiple accounts. I would not suggest having just one account that everybody has access to. But Dropbox for business is not much more expensive. That way, one of the 5 employees has their own login, their own storage, but can also share storage company-wide. And that's really useful. We use Google Drive at my company for that exact purpose. And we have folders set up with permissions. And, the engineering group has access to some things. The advertising group has access to other things. And it keeps everything a little bit more orderly. So, yeah, I think Dropbox is a good choice. The only argument against Dropbox, well, I guess there's a second one. It's a little far-fetched. But you'll have to remember that anytime you're storing something in the cloud, if that company goes out of business, gets sold, goes bankrupt, you should have your own copy locally of it as well.
So, fortunately, we do have a Dropbox business account.
Perfect.
Let's see, 5 of the users do have
Perfect.
Their own account. So there is a way on the Dropbox, on the commercial account to segregate people so they
Absolutely.
Or that. Okay,
yeah, it's permissions.
Okay.
So you
and I think that was one issue that there was some concern about. So
and I should mention, if you're a physician or you have a medical practice, there is a HIPAA compliant version of Dropbox for business. So you can get there are security controls, but ultimately it's how you operate more than how the Dropbox operates.
Cool. Well, we have a Nas Device, a Synology, and they've got the app that you can access from out.
I would use both. If you've got both, use both. So that's actually, and by the way, I do that. That's a very convenient thing. Synology, think of that as local backup, which you need to do anyway, right?
Okay, so use the Synology as the backdrop, as the backup, and use
the cloud because then people can access it from home, on the road. Dropbox is super convenient. I think Dropbox does a great job.
So just go into the Synology drive and set it up as the backup.
It'll even back up to Dropbox. I mean, you can put Dropbox on your Synology, I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah, the Synology is a good choice because it has a lot of apps for it. So yeah, I'm just trying to remember where to go for Dropbox. If you go to Dropbox Help and search for sharing permissions, you'll see how you can set permissions. So you can say there's 3 different levels. Somebody can modify it is called an editor. Somebody who can only read a file but can't modify it, that might be an employee who wants the data but you don't want them to change it, is a viewer. And then one of them is an owner, that's you. And you can own that folder, and you can change access. You could say Joe has access, but Sally does not. Things like that.
Okay, cool. I'll do some.
That's a good way to go.
Appreciate the time. I'm one of those long-time listeners, first-time callers.
Nice, Matthew. Thank you for calling. I appreciate it. I don't share that. There's a general, horror and fear of cloud anything, which I don't share. I admit, increasingly, we use Google at work, and I'm increasingly nervous because Google really seems to have lost its way lately. And I'm not worried about them handing my information over to people. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about Google, throwing away, deprecating, tiring of technologies and just saying, yeah, we're not going to do that anymore. They do it all the time. I just think they're unfortunately, very poorly run company. I've just come to that opinion. I had such respect and regard for Google. It's still the best search engine out there. The YouTube is, amazing given the fact that you could put anything up there for free and the whole world can see it. That's great. There's some problems with YouTube, I think. But what they're offering for free is amazing. Gmail is pretty good. I stopped using Gmail. And I just, the other thing, and I've seen this happen from time to time, is Google at any point can say to you, we don't like what you're doing. We cancel your account. And that's it. There's no appeal. Everybody can do that. Facebook can do it. Dropbox could do it. And so there's always this kind of thought that you're trusting a third party, a company with your data. I see no reason not to trust Microsoft, Apple, Dropbox, even Google with your data. I think that's fine. But you should always have your copy as well, obviously, for obvious reasons. And I think Dropbox is a great little product. I think they've done a good job. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 88. I had to wait till he started singing. 8888. Ask Leo the phone number. Brian's on the line from West Hartford, Connecticut. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Leo. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you for calling.
So let's see. A long time ago, like back 2003, very long time ago, I took a bunch of 8mm movie film and Super 8 movie film and had it converted to digital. And then I used Pinnacle. Yeah, and big project. I inherited the film from my father. It's when we were kids.
Oh, it's wonderful to convert all that. It's so nice to have it digital. That's great.
Oh, yeah. And the thing is, I did like a nationwide search for companies to do real high-end conversion, and I wanted the best, quality. So, he put it onto these digital tapes for me in, AVI format. And so then I used the Pinnacle Studio, and I made several DVDs from it. And then I married an audio track to it. We went over to my brother's house, and he had an audio recorder for recording meetings. So we sat around and we watched it.
Oh, you did a commentary. That's awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Audio commentary. Great. That's cool.
Yeah.
I love it.
And so now I have these DVDs, and I have the DVD images on my computer and stuff, the Video TS folder and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It was created from all that.
Yep.
What I would like to do is I would like to essentially port this stuff over to like an Android phone or Android tablet. And I would really like to maintain the DVD structure, like
easy
the
peasy.
first DVD has like 11 chapters in it.
Yeah.
So I'm having difficulty finding software that will allow me to do that.
Yeah. So as you noted, the video by itself, which you could easily digitize as an MPEG-4 and put on any tablet or any computer. In fact, that's probably how it should live. I'd get rid of the DVDs. But that isn't going to reflect the contents of the DVD. The DVD has the video on it in MPEG-2 format. The way DVDs work, they also combine sound into it. So it's muxed together with the audio in one file. That's called the VOB file, the video object file.
Right.
And then, as you've noted, there's VTS files, there's index files, and there's menu files. There's other files on there. And that structure is exactly what you're talking about. That's the thing that gives you the menus, the audio. If you put your audio commentary on a separate track, you could have the commentary track. You could have just the music. I don't know how fancy you've gotten. Now,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So okay. Oh, so yeah. So actually, and it turns out, and as I've been sitting here on hold, I've been looking through all these files. I haven't looked at them in years, and it turns out that I don't even have like the original audio file that we recorded. So I only have.
You need that whole thing. Yeah.
Well, so I have the DVD images, but right. And it plays audio, but it's not associated with like the.
So what you need, you could actually literally just copy the DVD as an ISO file, and then you'd need a player that would understand. Oh, it's not on a disc; it's this ISO file. You need a player that understands then the VOB files, the VTS files, and all the others.
Yeah, and earlier today, I did download some software and I converted it to an ISO file.
Perfect.
And it will actually recognize the video of the menu system. Okay, but it plays it just like it was another. But you can't click on the the little thumbnails that are
that's dependent completely on the program you're using. So there are DVD playback programs that will act exactly as if that ISO file is the DVD.
Well, I'm using that one that's the cone there.
That's VideoLAN, VLC. That's great.
Yeah. So I'm using
what kind of tablet do you want to play it back on? This is the issue. Again, very simple. You've got the DVD. It's a digital file. That's the ISO file. You need a program that understands the DVD format and will give you the playback as it is if it were a DVD. That's simple on a PC. There's lots of programs that will do that. Not VLC, but there are lots of other programs that will do that.
Oh.
But
VLC plays the original DVD files, the video VTSO1 files, and recognizes the chapters and all that.
Yeah, but it's not giving you the full functionality.
Right.
Actually, if you look in VLC, Gollum in the chat room is saying there is a show DVD menu that will show you the menu. I don't know how much of the functionality VLC would give you, but there are third-party players, there are lots of them, that will play a DVD from an ISO file just as if you'd stuck it in a DVD player. The problem is you want to do this on an iPhone or an Android device?
I mean, Android mostly, but my brother uses all Apple stuff. So that's a secondary thing, but I'd like to have it on my phone.
Yeah, I know there are plenty of Windows programs that will do this. I'm not sure about iOS and Android. You're going to have to find a video player that is smart enough to recognize that file format and give you the menus.
Yeah, I even put the I downloaded the VLC app on my phone.
Not VLC. So,
right, okay.
So I'm looking at one on iOS. You might want to take a look at it. Infuse, it's called. And it looks like it certainly can see the ISO file and play it back. But whether it would show the menus, the controls, that's the thing. All of that data is in that ISO file. You simply need a program smart enough to say, oh, I see menus, I see thumbnails. Let's do that. If you have to have, that's if you have to have those menus. Most people just dispose of the menus. They convert the video and they leave it at that.
Yeah, but I mean, the menus, it really adds a lot of niceness to the whole thing. And bouncing in and out of it, it's...
yeah. Well, look at Infuse. On Android, I'm not sure. But what you want is like Android, I would Google Android DVD ISO player. It's much more likely you're going to find what you want on Android because it's an open platform. And iOS, Apple, who knows if Apple wants you to do that or not. But try Infuse. It looks like it looks like it understands it. Two easy methods. Let me see. To play an ISO file, what you want is the menus. There are some. It looks like there might be some. Yeah. See, this is saying use VLC, and which the nice thing about VLC is available on all platforms. But I don't know if VLC will give you all the menus you want. Take a look at that. Open DVD menu in VLC. Actually, I'm surprised VLC doesn't because it's pretty powerful. It's just I'm not sure.
It does recognize. It recognizes the ISO file. The ISO file.
Yeah.
On my PC.
Yeah.
However, it plays the menus as if it was just another video file. There's no interactivity with it.
Yeah. I understand.
It will play through the two menu screens and then start playing the rest of the video.
You need a smarter program.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure. We'll keep looking. VLC is free. It's somewhat basic. Its real specialty is playing back the video files in a variety of different flavors. It's really good that way. The fact that it can see ISOs is great, but I don't know if it will give you the full playback of a DVD. And for that, you're going to want to have an app that'll do that. Take a look at Infuse. It certainly will play them back. Whether it'll give you the menus, I can't tell. It's not clear. And on Android, I'm sure there's stuff that can do that. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More with the tech guy in just a bit, but first, let me tell you about Linode. I have been a Linode member since the dinosaurs. Well, not that far back, but practically, it was my first experience with cloud computing for everyone. I mean, it blew me away. I was attracted to Linode because they had Linux servers. They were also one of the first to do SSDs on their servers, which made them super fast, super affordable. And, instead of running a server out of your house that isn't globally accessible, this just makes it so easy for a whole lot of things. I was using it to learn web technologies, to publish a website, to learn, coding and things like that. But people use it for all sorts of businesses. They have data centers all over the world, Linode does. And because the pricing is consistent, regardless of location, you choose the data center nearest you, you're going to get a great price. They have a really intuitive cloud manager, even an API if you want to use that. I think that's probably why 800,000 developers use Linode to simplify their cloud infrastructure, develop, deploy, and scale modern applications faster and easier. But the thing that always gets me is they have the best tech support. Multiple Stevie Award winners. Their sales and customer service is the best. In fact, they just won the Stevie Award for the third year in a row. They're there, the customer service folks, 24/7, 365 days a year. Here's what I like. No matter what tier you're buying, even if you're the lowest price customer, you get gold star service. They no handoffs, no tiering. They don't look down there. I'm a little guy. They don't look down their nose at me. They give me great service. So whether you're hosting a website, building an app for storage, for backup, it's easy to use. You can launch and enrich your developer applications, your hosted services, your websites. They have now AI and machine learning workloads with GPUs dedicated to ML. They've got gaming services. If you're doing CI/CD, you can do your building there. It's just amazing. Launch and scale in the cloud with their virtual machines. And incidentally, since I started using Linode years ago, they have just advanced, really moving with the times. You could choose shared or dedicated compute instances. So if you need all that bandwidth, have your own server. Or if you want to save money, get a shared server. We're going to give you $100 in credit. You can use it on S3 compatible object storage. They've got managed Kubernetes, all sorts of stuff. Linode has a wonderful YouTube channel, by the way, if you want to learn more about how to use it. There's all sorts of stuff at youtube.com/Linode, Linode. Look at the testimonials, too. I gave you mine. I honestly just think it's the greatest. Bryce Adams from Meteoric, they use Linode, and he also likes how they get treated there. He says, from the start, we were looking for a partner, not a provider. And frankly, some of the large providers, who see us merely as a transaction. Linode is the kind of partner that will be with us from the start, today, and beyond. I can vouch for that. Multiple Stevie Award winners, simplify your infrastructure, cut your cloud bills in half with Linode's Linux virtual machines running SSDs. Whether you're developing a personal project like me or managing larger workloads, you deserve simple, affordable, accessible cloud computing solutions, and there is nobody better than Linode. That's why everybody knows Linode. Everybody knows Linode. Get started today. We're going to give you $100 free credit, which is incredible, just because you're listening to the Tech Guy. Details at linode.com/techguy. And if you're not at your desktop, you can text the word TWIT, T-W-I-T, to 474747, and they'll send you the free credit. Linode.com/techguy. Just click the Create Free Account button to get started. Don't forget, you're going to get that $100 credit. That's going to go a long way. If it runs on Linux, it runs on Linode. Thank you, Linode, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. We really appreciate it. He's been everywhere, man, and he's ready to breathe the fresh country air. Johnny Jet, our traveling guru. At JohnnyJet.com, he teaches us how to use tech to travel like a rock star. I've been feeling bad for the rock stars lately. There hasn't been a lot of traveling. They haven't been able to perform much lately. You were on your first kind of jaunt out and about last time we talked. And we did one, we went to Napa Valley. I mean, it's 45 minutes away. But with baby steps. That's exactly what my article was titled 2 weeks ago. Baby steps. Oh, yeah. Well, we did it too. It's like a practice, a drill, a fire drill.
Yeah. I felt like I was in a movie, What About Bob? Where he was like, taking baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps.
I'm going to be fully vaccinated on Thursday. So,
woo! Now you still have to wait a couple of weeks for the.
No, I already got my second shot. This will be 2 weeks. This will be the 2
weeks. So you can just go out and party.
I'm not going to party, but I'm worried about. I have two little kids. So I have to say I'm worried in general. We're starting to see rates go up again and deaths go up, and I think people are saying, "Oh, the vaccine's out now. Let's go party." Right.
My son, who's 26, and when you're that young, you frontal lobe's not fully developed.
Right.
Got his first shot. And then last weekend decided to go visit friends, including two guys he's known for a long time who flew out to visit from Michigan. Both those guys had the UK variant. It was a super spreader event.
Oh, no.
Henry got it after he'd already had one shot. All he had to do was wait for the second shot plus 2 weeks, and he would have been okay. Anyway, he's okay. He felt pretty bad that first day, but he's feeling a little bit better now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hate to hear this. I heard about a nurse from Minnesota went to Mexico, and she was fully vaccinated, I think in January, and she tested positive. To get back into the U.S., everyone, no matter if you're an American or not, you have to provide a COVID negative test, and she tested positive.
As you should.
And they quarantine her right away. So she's stuck. I don't know if she has to pay for the bill or not. It depends on the resort, because some resorts give you free quarantine. But that's 10 to 14 days, and you can't come home.
Yeah.
And another problem I read is that if you have had COVID in the past, you could have a false positive, which is why the CDC requires you either have a COVID negative test or proof that you had COVID in the last 90 days, I think it is.
Yeah, 95% is not 100%. That means still 1 in 20 people can get it.
Yeah.
The good news is if you get it, you're not going to get super sick. The bad news is you could still spread it. So,
Yeah, so I booked some travel this week, and one of them,
Where are you going, Johnny?
Well, that's all secret, but there's an airline, a brand new startup. There's actually two in the U.S. coming, one in Canada in June.
COVID Air. I think it's a great name.
What'd you say?
COVID Air? No.
COVID Air. Funny. I was like, that is not what I heard.
That's not the name. Okay.
Avelo Airlines.
What is it?
Avelo. Avelo Air.com.
Okay.
And right now they have fares. Actually, they're $19. And they fly to 11 different cities. They're based out of Burbank.
What?
So you can go to, and actually.
Is it a jet?
It's 737-800.
What?
So they're going to fly out of Burbank. They're going to Eureka, California, Redmond or Bend, Oregon, Bozeman, Montana, which is hot this summer, by the way, Eugene, Oregon, Grand Junction, Colorado, Medford, Oregon, Ogden, Salt Lake, and then Redding, California, Santa Rosa, which is Napa, and Phoenix, Mesa. So they fly out of these smaller airports.
I can recommend Napa. It's beautiful right now.
And that actually might be one of my first trips.
Yeah.
$19.
Yeah. You're saying from Burbank to
and
Napa.
from Burbank, from those cities.
$19 one way.
Yep.
What is it, $119 going back?
No, $19.
$19 each way? Wow.
Yep. You can look right now online. You'll see the deals. I mean, on the very first day they're launching.
That's better than Larry Air. That's good.
Yeah, April 28th, their first launch. So that day to Napa is $49 because it's gone up because people are buying them, I assume. But the following day is $19. I just checked this morning.
What's it? Tell me the name again of the airline.
Avelo. Avelo. Air.com. I just put it in the chat room. I just tweeted it out as well.
Wow.
And so that's going to be.
Is that going to be their price forever, or maybe just to
supposedly?
Themselves?
Who knows? But they're an ultra low fare carrier, but. They say they're not going to stick you like some of these other low fare
$10 to check a bag. That's not bad.
$35 for carry-on overhead.
Wait a minute. Tell me that again. So if you have carry-on, $35.
Yep.
$10 to check.
The reason why they do that is because when people bring their bags on board, it slows the whole process down. If they can't turn these planes around in time,
right.
It ruins their whole schedule. And if the plane's not in the air, it's not making
that's
money.
Logical. Now, you don't like to check bags.
I don't.
This is a downside for you.
For sure. I mean, unless I'm traveling with my kids, I do not check bags. I've gone around the world multiple times with just check bags, even on 3-week, 6-week trips. You can bring everything for a week and just wash it somewhere. And it just saves, if there's ever a flight delay or cancellation, you can switch planes like that. You can take public transportation so much easier. And, you have to worry about them losing your bag, which is another thing, and being delayed. I mean, I hate sitting around a baggage claim. It feels like an hour. Sometimes it is. But more good news this week. American Airlines is actually giving away 100 million miles. And it's a fun game. So you go on. I put the website is actually, I'll tell you exactly what the website's called. But it's Advantage, Advantage 40th.com. And so it's for their 40th anniversary. And all you have to do is be a member of their frequent flyer program, which most people are. If you're not, you can sign up. And you can play every single day until May 3rd. And they're giving away, I mean, it literally takes like 5 seconds. And you spin the globe, maybe more than 5 seconds, maybe a minute. You spin the globe, and I've already won 20% off at Hyatt. I've won 500 miles. My wife just told me she just got a free upgrade. So, and they're giving 40 winners 1 million miles. So, I mean, it's a unique game, and it's very generous, I think. And one of the best parts about it is if you haven't used your miles, or you don't have your credit cards hooked up to Advantage, this is another way to extend them for another 18 months because it will be some activity in your account.
Oh, so, that's a good thing to know.
Which is a very good.
I thought the companies were deferring the expiration during.
American did not. Delta, I think, they don't expire. If you're under 21, they don't expire. But for over 21, which unfortunately I am,
I had no idea, Johnny.
I know, that's a big secret.
Yeah, that's wow, that's really cool.
But speaking of American, I had a trip this week on American, which I canceled because I wasn't fully vaccinated. I bought a ticket 2 months ago because I wasn't sure, for $60 round trip between LA and Miami on a 777, plush seat. But I canceled, but before I canceled, I waited. I was going to wait to the last minute because that's one of the tricks. You wait to the last minute, see if they cancel, then you get your money back in full. I know it's only $60, but hey, times have been tough here. But they sent me an email saying, "Hey, would you like to change your flight?" And of course, I went down that rabbit hole, and I started clicking, and they were offering me to change my flight for free to a flight that had one stop. It was going to double my time on a narrow body plane instead of a wide body, and like a middle seat. So I wrote a post about, if they ever do this to you, always make sure you read the fine print before you accept anything. Because again, one of my readers sent in and said, listen, they did the same thing to them and they took the bait, but it actually was going to a different airport. They didn't see that in the fine print. It was going to Fort Lauderdale instead of Miami.
So they got off and go, where are we?
Yeah. So I recommend calling the airline and saying, hey, I'm willing to switch my flight, but I'd like some compensation, although they're going to make you go to the airport to get compensated. And they offered that as well. They said, hey, your flight looks like it's overbooked. And they're offering up to $300, which is
Johnny Jet, JohnnyJet.com. That's the place to go for his newsletter, his travel information. Don't forget, they're all free. Subscribe. Thank you, Johnny.
Thank you.
Just Google AA Advantage 40th because your chances of mistyping it and getting to a fake site are very high.
Well, I have it linked into my post.
Yeah, or just go to the post. Yeah.
Let's hope that.
It's always a risk to say URLs on the air because just tell people go to JohnnyJet.com or.
Okay, good. I just don't want to be so self-promoting.
No, I don't blame you. You can say Google 40th, AA 40th anniversary, and you'd find it.
Of course, I love the traffic, but.
Yeah.
And then, speaking of traffic, I had a record week this week for traffic.
That tells you something, right?
I just looked at my Google Analytics. It's up 450% from last year and 50% from 2019.
Wow.
And it was down.
So it's up even from the good times.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Although I had a couple of posts go viral this week.
Oh, that's why. Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cool.
But I had no side effects. Someone asked me in the chat room. I had no side effects from either vaccines, the first or the second. And I really thought I was going to because I had a bad reaction to the shingles vaccine.
Yeah, so did Lisa. Oh, yeah. She hated that shingles.
And I had the Moderna.
Yeah, I had Moderna too. I want a reaction.
I heard that doesn't matter if you have a reaction.
Oh, it doesn't matter? Okay, good.
Well, ask Dr. Mom, but.
Dr. Mom, does it matter if I have a reaction?
But what I read, and by the way, I wrote a post about getting it at CVS. It was super easy. I couldn't believe how well run it was.
Lisa got hers at Safeway because Kaiser, she couldn't get an appointment at Kaiser except like in Santa Rosa or something. So she ended up. Her dad called her because he was in there and they said, we have extras. So he called her. We ran over and she got it at Safeway. She got Pfizer. So
my wife got Pfizer.
Yeah. Yeah. It's fine. Any port in a storm. Just don't go crazy.
Yeah.
You can still get it. I don't think many people will get it.
I hope not. But
and if you get it, you won't get super sick or go to the hospital, but you should probably continue to mask, right? Because you might be spreading it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Canada's getting crushed right now, and that worries me. I mean, a lot of the world is getting crushed.
A lot of the world is, yeah.
But Canada,
it's
our
those
next
variants.
door neighbor.
I think that UK variant is very contagious. Look at Michigan on the map, bright red. So these two guys come out from Michigan, fly the whole way, by the way. So thanks for, I mean, they anyway, fortunately, Henry's feeling better.
So real quick, how was your stay in Napa? Did you stay at the Calistoga Inn? Where'd you go?
No, Calistoga Inn.
That's not even Napa, is it? That's Calistoga.
It's in Calistoga. Calistoga's in Napa. It's just not the town of Napa. Calistoga's in Napa Valley. We stayed at Indian Springs, which is our favorite old Calistoga resort. Although I have to say Calistoga's getting very upscale and very expensive now. But that's good in a way. I mean, the restaurants are good, but
right.
You know, and the Calistoga Ranch is not going to be rebuilt.
Is the French Laundry still around? I guess it is because
it's not as good as it used to be.
There.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd like to check that out. I've never been there.
Worth going for sure. It's about 4 hours. Bring your appetite.
I'm not going.
It's so
I don't
long
have patience for that
they give you an intermission. They say, we're going to pause in between courses here. Go out and have a walk in the garden.
Oh, no. Forget that.
It's a lot of food. Johnny, I got to run. It's good to talk to you.
You too. Take
Glad
care.
things are turning around. Take care. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. The mellow mood of Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo. Brian on the line from Wildemar. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Leo. Say, thank you for taking my call.
Thanks for calling. How are things in Wildemar today?
Beautiful. Gorgeous.
Spring
Upper
is
70s, low 80s. It's fantastic.
Spring has been very nice to the West Coast.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. See, I'm wondering about your prophetic prowess.
All right, let me get my my wizard's hat on and get the crystal ball. I'll do a little Karnak for you. What do you want to know?
Well, I'm looking to upgrade my MacBook Pro laptop. I do a lot of video production for my church, and I've looked into a lot of blogs, and currently the recommended laptop on Mac is the 16-inch MacBook Pro, but there's a lot of people saying that the 13-inch M1 chip, or the M1 chip that's in the 13-inch now, is superior.
It is
to the
having both. Yeah. I have the i9 16-inch MacBook Pro, top of the line, and I have the 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 chip. It competes well against the. Not in every regard, but it competes very, very well against the i9, partly because the i9 and any laptop, these fast Intel chips are very hot and they get throttled down so they don't overheat. The M1 does not have that problem. Battery life is spectacular, but I would wait because that's the crystal ball in action, yes. Exactly. I would wait because there, of course, the strongest rumor right now going is that there'll be a 16-inch MacBook Pro based on a advanced variant of the M1 chip. So that will be the one. If you want a laptop, I take it?
Yes.
Yeah, that will be the one to get. Now, this is where the future gets foggy. When, you might ask? Sooner than later, I might answer. We're expecting an Apple event this month. I don't expect them to announce anything but an iPad, maybe the Apple trackers, the AirTags, possibly long shot an Apple TV. We've seen evidence of all three in code and so forth. I don't think, though, we're going to see a new MacBook Pro 16 until June. That's when the Worldwide Developers Conference comes. And that's typically when Apple announces new laptops. They like to announce them for the developers because they know developers like them. Can you wait till June? It's only 2 months.
I can. I'm going to hang on.
Yeah, 2 months. You can do 2 months.
I can. My current laptop is a 2015, but it's hanging in there.
Ooh. Yeah, it's getting a little long in the tooth, but on the other hand, that was the last MacBook Pro with a good keyboard until the most recent ones.
Yeah.
So I held on to my 2015 longer than I would have normally as well. I think it's worth waiting. I really do. If you can hang on, I think what Apple's doing with the M1 chip is mind-boggling, especially for laptops, because you know laptops' battery life is a big deal. The battery life on these first 3 that they've released is unparalleled. There's nothing in the industry that comes close, PC or Mac. So I think they really nailed it on that. These 3 machines are relatively low-end machines. They always have been. The MacBook Air, the kind of low-end Mac Mini. It's not even a high-end Mac Mini, and the MacBook Pro 13. That's the first step, but I want to see what they're going to do with more memory. You would like more than 16 gigs, probably.
Correct.
I think they're going to have more cores. I think they're also going to have more GPU cores. So you're going to see a powerhouse that will, if the MacBook Pro 13 with the M1 is beating the i9 MacBook Pro 16, I can only imagine what the MacBook Pro 16 with the M1X or the M2 or whatever they call it will be. What we don't know is the time frame. My prediction is we're going to see new Macs first in June. It'll probably be laptops, might be an iMac. And these, by the way, will be redesigned. It's another reason to wait. The current crop are just the old designs with new chips. These will be redesigned. Smaller bezels, bigger screens, maybe micro LED or mini LED screens, which will be a little bit better. Yeah. I don't think we're going to see Mac Pros until the fall at the earliest, probably October, November, maybe even as late as December. So, but I think we'll certainly see laptops in June and maybe even iMacs in June.
Awesome.
And worth waiting for? Yes. So, I mean, that's the main thing. I can tell you my experience. Definitely worth waiting for.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
My pleasure.
Definitely appreciate your prophetic prowess.
Can I take the hat off now? Because it's a little sweaty. I don't know. I think Gandalf, whoever wore this last, just maybe, a little funky. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it. It's a good question. And I should preface always any speculation about Apple as, no one knows. And even if we see clues, and we certainly see clues about an April event, it doesn't mean they're going to do it. They change their minds all the time. Look at the AirTags. They announced those. Those are the little Bluetooth location trackers. They announced those more than a year ago. And something's gone wrong. For some reason, they haven't released them. Maybe because no one's going anywhere. Maybe they feel like, well, we'll wait till people start moving around. I don't know. But nothing. So it's always possible Apple will change their minds or that the rumor mill's wrong. But that's my best guess. And yes, the most important thing, these new chips are phenomenal, well worth waiting for. And the longer you wait, by the way, the better compatibility. Because, it's taking a while for developers to upgrade their software to take advantage of the new chips. Most software works fine, but you'd like to see everything natively written for the M1 chips, and that's happening now. More and more that's happening. So by the time, a couple of months now, everything will be ready to go. Alex on the line from Northridge, California. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hello, Alex.
Hi, Leo. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Of course.
So, Leo, I'm designing my own synthesizer keyboard.
Wow.
And,
cool.
Yeah, very cool. So I'm going the route of putting everything in a computer and design a keyboard around that. So it's going to be a Mac Mini of sort, whether it's the new one or wait. I just heard the previous caller about the M1.
I don't know when they're going to update the Mini or whether they will. The new Mac Mini is pretty darn good. Is it a MIDI? Is it going to be a MIDI keyboard? How are you going to connect it? USB?
Yeah, it's going to be USB. I already made the keyboard with an Arduino board, and it's going to hook up USB.
Cool.
So
does it use the MIDI protocol? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah.
How cool.
There's enough libraries for the Arduino to do that.
Beautiful.
The question that I have is, I'm going to kind of attach a screen on this wooden box that I'm going to make, obviously.
Yeah.
And I wanted to control the Mac Mini tethered. I don't want Wi-Fi because some places that I go, I don't want to carry a router or to rely on a network that exists. So I want it to be tethered, basically. So when I turn on the Mac Mini, the screen pops up, and I want to be able to touch and control the Mac Mini.
Well, as you know, Mac OS doesn't support touch, so you're going to have to simulate a mouse with the touch, which can be done. You're probably going to end up using the Thunderbolt ports on the Mac Mini because Thunderbolt carries power, carries data, but also carries video. So one cable would do it all instead of USB. And by the way, you can still use USB and MIDI protocol over that cable, but if you want video, Thunderbolt will be your good friend there. In fact, there is HDMI out, but now you're going to have two cables. You may not want to do that. So I would take a look at Thunderbolt. Hey, we got to hold on the line because I got to take a break. We can get into the nitty-gritty and off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. News is next. More of your calls right after this. Sorry about that. So let me look here. The chat room has a link to a Mac-compatible touchscreen. Oh, that's pretty nice. The SideTrack Solo portable monitor. You know, one of the things that Apple has built in, you could use, and this might actually be a better solution, you could use an iPad for this.
I don't mind using an iPad, sure.
Because Apple has this sidecar capability built in where it can use a iPad as a second screen and touch works and everything. I think that's and you don't have to get an expensive one. You can use an iPad Air. You can use one of the less expensive iPads. That would give you the screen and the touch.
Sure, but does it rely on a Wi-Fi or is it...
It could use wired or unwired. So you would probably I think you could want to connect them. Let me just see if Sidecar... I've always used it... maybe you do.
Use it as a second monitor.
Yeah, maybe, you know what? Maybe it does have to be. It seems like you should be able to do this wired. I agree with you. That's much more reliable. But it looks like it uses AirPlay. It doesn't... It is Wi-Fi. That's a bummer. Yeah, that's a bummer because that would really be the ideal way to do it. And that. Oh, wait a minute. No, you can use it over USB. I'm looking at Apple's specs. So you can connect it just as you would your iPad normally via USB to your Mac, and it will then use the wired connection.
Okay.
That would be a great solution. Because, you know, it's just all going to work. Yeah.
Yeah, instead of relying on somebody else's monitor, touch screen, who knows if it's going to work all the time.
Yeah, see, I don't know. The monitor would have to, it would have the touch screen, but it would have to somehow send it in a way that Apple understood. And that, that's, you never know, do you? Well, if you use the standard, you know, you could use USB to USB-C if you're using iPad Pro, if you're using iPad Air. The new ones have USB-C as well, so you can connect.
Yeah, the iPad is not an issue.
Yeah, you can connect the two of them.
It could work tethered. That's the main thing.
Yes. Let me. My only concern, because especially if you went somewhere where you didn't have Wi-Fi, right? That'd be an issue.
Sure. Or I mean, I can always put a Wi-Fi router inside this box. It will be kind of an own thing.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
Extra stuff.
It works. It does work wired. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You need a USB-C cable or a USB-C to Lightning if it's an older iPad. No problem. And then there's, you know, then it's much more reliable. I think that's the way to go.
Fantastic. Awesome.
Hey, that sounds like, are you a performer? Do you perform with us?
I am, yeah. We're getting ready. Hopefully things maybe in 2, 3 months, 4 months, things when we'll open up, we'll get back to the places we used to gig at. And just want to kind of get my setup
Perfect thing to do during quarantine is develop a new, and is it going to have touch pads for the keyboard or is it a piano-style keyboard?
No, it's going to be synthesizer keys with aftertouch.
Okay. How cool is that? And
Mac Mini will have all VST instruments, and there's a cool application called Camelot, where it becomes kind of the hub for all of your sounds. So no matter what sounds you have in the keyboard, you can create like boxes or icons, and you just touch on it, and that becomes that sound.
That is
so the iPad
awesome.
becomes the interface for it, basically.
And what a small, convenient way to do this. That's brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
You can. Yep, awesome.
That sounds great. What's the name of the band?
Oh, we're just the house band. It's a place in Glendale called Carousel. It's a Mediterranean restaurant. It's really good stuff.
What kind of music do you play?
All kinds. Latin jazz, Greek, Italian, French.
How fun.
Yeah.
How fun. Are you the horn synthesizer and string section?
No, I'm actually the band leader. So I play all strings, leads, vocals, do it all.
Wow. You're going to be a busy guy. I can see why you'd want to set this up. Boy, that sounds like fun. What a fun thing to do. Hey, nice to meet you. Yes.
No, Leo, I called you before about Facebook Live not working with audio interfaces. They fixed it.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. So now they've,
so that was
that
was a bug or just something stupid that they had done.
Yep.
Sounds like. Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Thank you so much for your time, sir.
Take care, Alex. Bye-bye.
You too. Ciao.
Well, hey. How are you today? How are you doing? Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smart watches, anything with a chip in it. 8888 Ask Leo is the phone number if you have a question, a comment, a suggestion, if you want to talk high tech. And by the way, if you've been listening to the show and you've heard me talking and you've said, Leo, I got a better way you can call to. That's okay. I won't take it personally. 8888 Ask Leo. There is another way you can give me feedback or yell at me. That's on the website, techguylabs.com. Everything from the show goes there. James DeRuvo, our scribe, is writing it down, all the links, all the information. So if you hear something, you don't have to write it down. Just go to techguylabs.com. This is episode 1786. You can go right to that episode. There's other stuff there. There's the pick of the week, the software of the week, a lot of different stuff. But you can get right to the show. Each episode is divided into hour 1, 2, and 3. Each hour into segments 1, 2, 3, and 4. You go right to that segment. There's text there. But after the fact, a couple of days after the show, we put audio and video up too. So you can go and you can watch or listen, see the question asked and answered. And you can leave comments if you think you've got a better idea. That's a great place to do it. We appreciate it. It makes it more valuable. This is all free. There's no sign up. The reason I want to make this a valuable website for everybody for all time. techguylabs.com. Joseph's next from Riverside, California. Hi, Joseph.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Great. Okay. Yeah, I had an easy question. We have the Fire Stick, and we're just wondering, it's always buffering.
Yeah.
Is it the Fire Stick that's old, or is it the internet that's not doing good?
Well, it could be either. So the way streaming works, it's kind of amazing if you think about it. I mean, streaming video or audio, the data has to come in order, right? So that you can watch it. You don't want to see, it's all chopped up into what we call packets, but you don't want to see packet 400 before you see packet 399. The movie would be backwards. So it's got to come in order, and it has to come in a fairly timely fashion. So there's a lot of data needed, but also you can't afford to lose a packet. So the way these streaming devices work, and you might have noticed this, they buffer up front. They will download, and it used to be 30 seconds. It would take 30 seconds for a stream to start. Now they're a little faster. They might only take 10 seconds or so to start. And then they kind of accumulate packets in the buffer. And the idea is if a packet arrives out of order, you get 2, 3, 1. You still have to play it 1, 2, 3. And all they do is they're ahead by 30 seconds. So if they come out of order, no problem. You can reorder it because it's 30 seconds away. But if your bandwidth is insufficient or you drop a lot of packets, it'll start using up that buffer. It'll say, well, we're waiting for packet number 77. Let's keep going. But if 77 doesn't get here, we're going to have a problem. And then they have to pause and you can start eating up that buffer. Once it gets to 0, once you're watching in completely real time, when packet comes in, you watch it, it's going to rebuffer. That's why it's saying buffering. That's just behind the scenes what's happening. So what could cause that? Well, you're right. One thing could be internet bandwidth. Insufficient bandwidth, it'll buffer all the time. But even more subtle is poor quality. So you might have lots of bandwidth, but you might drop packets a lot. And that's going to cost you just as much as a slow connection. So bad internet quality would also tell you that. And then finally, yes, it could be the device playing it back, which just can't keep up. And a Fire Stick, as you probably know, that thing is just sticks right into the HDMI port. There's no fan in it. It gets hot. Doesn't have the most powerful chips in the world. So, and an old Fire Stick's even worse. So you might look at, it's hard to tell when you don't use the Fire Stick. If you just watch YouTube on your computer, do you get buffering?
No.
Okay.
And it's Charter, so it's really fast.
Yeah, again, speed isn't necessarily the only criterion, but yeah, you got a lot of speed, a lot of bandwidth. You don't see it on anything but this Fire Stick. It's probably the Fire Stick, yeah.
Okay, what can I get instead of the Fire Stick?
Now, you can get another Fire Stick, get a more modern one. No. But I would recommend a Roku. I have a couple of things against the Fire Stick. It's cheap, which is nice, but half of the screen, you've probably noticed, is ads for Amazon programming, right? The buttons you want are kind of little, and then there's all these ads. I just feel like it's too much of an Amazon ad. So that bugs me a little bit. I think there are more channels, and they do a better job. Apple TV's the king of the hill. Too expensive. NVIDIA Shield, just as good. It's Android TV, not Apple TV. Too expensive. Both of those devices hit $200 or $300, too much. But a Roku, which is around $100, I would not get the stick. Same problem as the Fire Stick, which is you don't have a fan. You got to get it in a little small package. It gets hot. I don't know if you've ever touched that Fire Stick after we're watching a long stream, but it's hotter than Hades. That's cause for failure. Roku has the same problem. It'll reset a lot. So get the box. You just get a cable that goes, HDMI cable comes from the box, plugs into the TV, same spot. I think Rokus are the king of the hill as far as I'm concerned. The price is right. I think they're under $100, like $70. And man, I think they're very, very good. Yeah, that's the one I'd go with.
Okay, thanks.
All right, my pleasure. Buffering is complicated. The reason I went through all that rigmarole explaining it is because, as you can probably see, lots of things can cause it. So I don't want to say for sure it's the Fire Stick, but if everything else is working fine, yeah, it's the Fire Stick. And if it's older, yeah. Patty Temecula, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Patty.
Hi, Leo. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Thanks
I need your help.
Okay.
I need your help. Okay, so I have had Sprint for 21 years.
Oh, you do need my help. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
Go on.
I was fine in my house. I was fine. I was actually even considering getting rid of my home phone because it was just for my mom and telemarketers.
Right.
My mom passed, and so now it's basically for the telemarketers, but no, now it's for me too.
Yeah.
I literally have to stand on my head holding a wire hanger to get any kind of reception.
It was okay, and then it just went downhill?
Oh, my goodness. It was awful.
Interesting. Now, one thing you should do before you give up, it's the T-Mobile merger. You know that. And it may be that they turned off the Sprint tower near you. But chances are there's a T-Mobile tower near you. One thing you should do is go into the T-Mobile store or call them and get a SIM upgrade for your phone.
Well, I actually did do that.
Oh, you did it?
In the last 2 weeks, I upgraded from an iPhone 8 Plus to the iPhone 12 Max Pro or Pro Max.
Yeah, nice. Oh, yes. We're living large now. And you got did you get a T-Mobile SIM?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you did fix it, and it didn't fix it. The reason I mention that is T-Mobile's phasing out the Sprint technologies. If you are on Sprint, you should get a new T-Mobile SIM because if chances are good that will fix it. But if it hasn't fixed it for you, maybe indeed they don't have a tower near you. And
it was fine. It was fine before they put in the new T.
Yeah, they probably turned off the Sprint tower and they didn't have a T-Mobile tower to replace it.
So based on that, when you go to like the T-Mobile Sprint website, it shows the whole country pink.
It's meaningless. Right? It's meaningless.
Exactly. You go to Verizon or AT&T, they all say the same.
Yeah, carrier coverage maps are not worth the bits they're printed on. There are companies that do these third-party coverage maps, and you could look at those. But honestly, it's not even – the problem is you're in a microclimate, And so you what you really need to know is like in my 500 square feet or whatever, my half acre, how is it here? And those maps aren't going to be that granular.
Okay.
So I would ask neighbors, really, if you can talk to them. Or all the phone companies will offer, 2 weeks or a week to test it out. So it might be worth doing that.
Okay.
If you want, you can check. There are a couple of people that do. Open Signal's the best known. They do third-party coverage maps. And what they're independent. They go around with phones and they test. But the problem is I don't think they get granular enough. And if they, Sprint tower is gone in your neighborhood, Sprint might have really degraded. The T-Mobile tower is just a little too far away. Yeah, I could see that happening. So if you're thinking of switching carriers, you got two choices. Go look at Open Signal. It doesn't hurt, opensignal.com. I would ask your neighbors, and you can always get a phone from Verizon or AT&T or even T-Mobile. Well, or actually in your case, get a SIM, and they will give you a week to try it out. And you just go everywhere you're going to go and see if it works. Generally speaking, AT&T and Verizon, you're in Southern California, have better coverage.
Okay. All right. And then, I forgot to bring this up, but if I could ask you another question.
Sure.
I work in education. We're going back hybrid. They're supplying us with Chromebook.
Nice.
Chromebook.
Good.
I'm a Mac.
Okay.
And the Chromebook will not do what I need it to do. So I want my own personal unlimited Wi-Fi. I saw something on Amazon. It's a Netgear Nighthawk M1 mobile hotspot. It's practically $270. And then I was going to get an unlimited plan.
That's not a bad idea. Or even get a device that some of the iPads have these built in, LTE built in. But yeah, you could I wouldn't get it from Amazon. I would go to whichever carrier you want to use that works best in your school and ask them. They're going to give you a subsidized deal because basically you're now going to be paying them monthly, just as you get a subsidized phone. So I'd ask them.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, typically it's around $50 a month, depending on how much data you're going to use. Nothing is unlimited. Remember, they call it unlimited. But you ask them, when does it get slowed down? That's what you really want to know.
That's what I was going to say. Does it slow down?
That's what you want to know.
Because when being on Zoom, we're going to be hybrid. I need to be able to get on there with Zoom and do everything. I mean, the kids are.
You should. LTE is so good now. As long as your school is, near a tower, which it probably is. LTE is so good now. It will be almost as fast as your home internet. It'll be fine. You'll get 50 to 100 megabits.
Okay.
Verizon, I'm told, has the best coverage in Temecula.
Perfect. That's who I was actually going to.
It also is, as you probably know, the most expensive.
Well, they're really only between $10 and $20 difference.
Yeah, it's not a huge difference.
So I mean, but
I have T-Mobile. My wife, I got her to use T-Mobile. I said, family plan, honey. She hated it. She's back on Verizon.
Yeah. I mean, for $10 compared to standing on my head with a wire hanger.
Yes, it's worth it. It's worth it. And you know what? You really can't get rid of the landline. The only thing to remember is 911. You have to use E911 when you're using your cell phone. Just keep that in mind.
That all stuff.
Good. Thank you for being a teacher. Thank you for risking your life going back. It's going to be good. We're going to get back. We're going to get back in school. What grade do you teach?
I actually teach severe autism, high school severe autism.
How interesting.
Yep.
How interesting. Well, bless you for doing that hard work. Really appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, we can't wait to get back into the class.
I bet. Well, especially for special needs kids, that's got to be really tough for them.
They've really acclimated so well to
bless their hearts.
They've done wonderful.
Yeah, I have some kids on the spectrum, and they kind of like being home alone. They don't really mind not having a lot of distractions. It's okay. Hey, it's great to talk to you. Thank you, Patty.
Thank you, Leo. Take care now.
Stay safe. Leo Laporte, the funky tech guy. Thank you to Professor Laura for our musical sounds. Aaron in Newhall, California is next. Hi, Aaron.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good. Got a get on my phone here. Got a quick question.
Yes, sir.
So I'm a video editor.
Oh, cool. Do you do anything I would know, as the folks say?
Right now it's mostly corporate. I was on Criminal Minds for about 8 years.
Oh, cool. How fun.
I was a DIT. I was a digital image tech, not the editor on that show. But
I imagine the deadlines on episodic television are killer.
They get killer.
Yeah.
So you start behind, but by the time your season's ended, you're pretty much up against your air dates.
Yeah. Yeah. We got to finish this by tonight.
Yeah. It gets pretty hectic. But
crazy. Well, what can I do for you?
Anyways.
Yeah.
Well, everything's work from home now. And so I'm slowly upgrading my system, and I'm up to my monitors, of which I've always had two 24-inch Dells.
Every editor has two monitors, one for your controls, one for your video.
That's right.
Yep.
Well, I need to upgrade. Well, I started doing my research, and I realized, well, now they have these huge monitors.
Oh, it's funny that you should say that. So I had three monitors.
Real estate.
I had three monitors taking over the desk on my Mac. But the bezels were really killing me, right? So I ended up getting a 55-inch monitor.
Yeah.
It's 4K, so it's 4 different HD screens, basically. And with the right software, or even the right hardware, you can do whatever you want. If you want to, you could have controls in one screen, video out in another screen. You could have your bin in the third screen. It's a nice way to work. There's a couple of problems with this. First of all, the bigger the screen, if you want P3 quality, you're doing video editing, you need good quality, it's going to cost you a lot. If you want that full color gamut, you want color corrected, it's going to cost you a ton.
And I'm not doing color. Color correction is not necessary.
You don't have to worry about that. Okay. Just the ED. You export the EDL, and somebody else can be responsible for that.
Or a lower res. I'm more concerned about is my computer.
Hang on, I got to take a break, but we'll talk some more because I love this subject because I just recently came up against it. So there are a couple of ways to go. There's, I think it's HP makes a monitor with 4 inputs. So a lot of people do that. You have 4 different computers one screen. But I'm doing one computer into a 55-inch screen. It's a very nice OLED, so the color gamut is pretty good. Certainly good enough if you don't care. It doesn't have to be full P3. It's 120 hertz refresh, which is very nice, very easy on the eyes. I love it. I am in love. But you're sitting close to it, right? So that's one problem. I had to get a higher chair so that my eye line was a little, my eye line was a little below the midline. I actually wanted it a little bit slightly above the midline. So a little bit of a higher chair, then it's fine. I also am wearing I'm wearing computer glasses, so it's a little easier to read because I want to keep it I'm keeping it almost 4 feet away because it's so big. I don't want to have to turn my head all the time. In other words, I think it's great, but there are some compromises. My wife has a 49-inch curved monitor, might be better, when she bought that, I said, honey, you're not going to use that. She will never let me live that down. she loves it. That's just a regular monitor height, but twice as wide in effect.
Yeah. One of my questions is, I guess, when it comes to the computer, is the computer going to slow down a little bit?
No.
Trying to talk to two monitors versus one. Is there any kind of lag?
No, because you're already drawing that many pixels.
Okay.
You're just going to draw them on one monitor. In fact, it potentially is even easier. I presume you have a fairly powerful. Are you using a Mac or a PC?
Mac.
So I presume you're using a high-end Mac that has a decent graphics processor in it.
Yeah.
That's what's driving this. And if your GPU is, has any decent horsepower, even until Iris can do it. But yeah, if you were driving two monitors, it's just one monitor with the same number of pixels.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know if it was like, with one, it's more real estate.
I'm running it. In order to run this 55-inch monitor, I had to get an RTX 3080. I had to get a high-end NVIDIA GPU. What are you on a Mac Pro or an iMac? What are you running?
I had the old cheese grater, and I went to upgrade. Perfect. And I was like, the new cheese graters are like $10,000.
Yeah, they're crazy. Watch towards the end of the year, they're going to do a Mac Pro, mini Mac Pro. It's going to be tiny, half the size, and with that M1 chip. I think it's going to be a great choice. Apple, on the newest M1s, does not drive multiple monitors. So they are not yet ready for that. But if you have the older Mac, you're going to be fine.
I didn't went with a 2020 19-inch MacBook Pro with as much RAM as I could.
Yeah. That 19-inch can drive a 55-inch screen.
And so far, it's a great machine. I just didn't want to commit. It's expensive. I didn't want to commit to one monitor and then wish I'd have stuck with 227.
It is. It would be nice to try. How big? What are you looking at?
You know what? I don't know. Probably something that at least covers the real estate of 224s at least.
Well, that's my wife's Dell is 49 inches. And on the Mac, it's basically two screens. In fact, the Mac is having trouble. Her iMac is older. It's having trouble distinguishing it as a single screen. I think more modern Macs will see it as a single screen. So her menu bar is only on half the screen because it thinks it's two screens, but it still works. I think a more modern Mac isn't going to have that problem.
Yeah.
That i9 is going to be fine.
Yeah. And then the only other issue is with, I use Premiere a lot, and if Premiere will let me only take up half the screen.
Sure.
Have my email and stuff open.
You totally can.
One.
Yeah.
That's my.
You're going to want to use Magnet or one of the other Macintosh screen. There's really nice screen snapping software that lets you say, when this opens, boom, and it puts it on this half of the screen. It does it automatically. It's beautiful. Magnet is a good one.
Yeah. And then what's your recommendation for a brand on those bigger screens?
That's an interesting question. I would say Dell's fine, since you don't need perfect quality. I gotta run. Ho! Ooh! Leo Laporte, the tech guy, 8888 Ask Leo. I was talking to Aaron, the editor in Newhall, California, about big monitors versus little monitors. Aaron, you still on the line, yeah?
Yeah.
Good. So, every video editor, when you go in a video edit suite, they always have multiple monitors. And generally, they segregate different parts of the video editing software. Avid lets you put the clips in one monitor, and actually, a lot of times they'll have three monitors, one which is a high-quality video monitor so they can look at the output, and then two computer monitors, one for the controls, one for the video they're editing, that kind of thing. Because there's a lot of stuff on the screen. But this was how I was doing it. I had an iMac, nice one, iMac Pro. And then I had two cinema displays, so I had three, kind of a triptych of three displays. But the bezels were bugging me. And the real problem I have with the iMac is you got a screen and you don't get to, that's the main screen. Can't get rid of it. So I think, I thought about this. I thought, you know what I really want? I don't want to buy an all-in-one anymore. I want to get a Mac Mini or a Mac Pro or something that doesn't have a screen and then choose my screen. I ended up getting a PC because I'm not going to wait for the next generation Mac Minis or Mac Pros. But then I got a really big screen, maybe too big. So you kind of got to think about what your real estate's going to be. There are high-end screens from companies like Yamaha where, they're going to cost thousands of dollars because they're very high quality. You said you don't care so much about the quality?
No, I'm not worried about getting a color-corrected monitor. I can balance it close enough for what I need to do.
Right. It's going on YouTube. It doesn't matter anyway.
Anything needed to be broadcast quality is going to go through a proper DI.
Somebody else will do it. Yeah. So I would say Dell has two grades of monitors. They have the really cheap ones, and then they have the Dell higher-end precision monitors. I would look at the higher-end Dell monitors. I think they're very good. The one I got was an Alienware, which is made by Dell OLED. It's very nice. Any of the Ultra Sharps are going to be fine.
Awesome. You said one thing I don't understand. You said a monitor that was too big. I don't understand that.
How could that be?
I've never said.
Well, think about this. Think about putting your TV on your desk. That would be too big.
Let's back up.
Okay, you just back up. But eventually, you're sitting 5 feet from your keyboard. I'm lucky. I have a desk that goes 4 feet deep, a little more. So I could put the monitor about, they say typically you want a monitor at arm's length. It's maybe half a foot longer. It's about 3.5, 4 feet away. The problem can be with a big screen is you're looking around. As you know, peripheral vision is not very accurate, especially for color. So you got to point those fovea at those pixels. That means you're going to be looking around a lot. That's, it's up to you.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't go bigger than what I've already got. I would just go from
double it.
2 to 1, yeah.
Yeah, double it.
Interesting.
So I would look, Dell and others sell 49-inch monitors. There's gaming monitors that, have FreeSync and G-Sync so that they can work with gaming cards. You don't need that. I would look at a Dell Ultra Sharp. You have 224s. Dell makes a 49-inch, which would be those two together. That's perfect. It's a little curved. I'm not crazy about that, but that's to deal with that peripheral vision problem. Because, but it's a surround monitor. I love it. That's the one my wife said, you were wrong.
Yeah. Well, it isn't, because when I have two, I angle them each in a little bit.
Yeah, that's it. You're doing the curving, basically. Yeah.
So, awesome. Okay.
Thanks. Have fun.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Love spending people's money. But as I said, this was something that came up for me. There's conflicting evidence. There are a number of studies that show you're more productive with multiple monitors because you can. There's more on the screen. You don't have to go back and forth in windows and stuff. Modern operating systems handle these big monitors very well, as you might imagine. There are also studies, evidence that we don't multitask well at all. That no human mind really is multitasking. They're time shifting, or time slicing, I guess would be the right word. But multitasking really brings down your acuity, your performance. But he's not multitasking if he's editing. He's doing one thing, which is editing. And that's a really good example of where your productivity is going to go up. Same thing for my wife. She's a finance person. So what she wants spreadsheets that can fill the whole. She wants a screen that can hold all the rows and the columns. She wants a screen that she can have a report open on one side and a document on the other side. She wants to be able to have multiple documents in one. She's still doing one thing at a time. And so I think that's important, though. That distinction is important. Having multiple screens and putting 4 different things. I got a chat here. I got my bank account here. I got a video going here. That is probably not ideal. Your attention cannot, I know we're all, a little ADD these days, and I certainly am as bad as anyone. But if you're going to do one task at a time, using all that real estate often helps a lot. Thomas Tustin, Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm fine. You seem in an exceptionally good mood today.
I had a little time off. Wow.
Oh.
Makes a big difference. Yeah, I was getting cranky. And I thought, you know what?
My time's off. I'm retired.
Oh, how is that?
It's great. It's great.
You don't get bored?
before we get too much further, I want to wish you a belated happy birthday. I didn't get a chance to call you in November. We share the same birthday.
Oh, well, a belated happy birthday to you too, my friend.
Well, thank you very much.
That's not, Sages got to stick together.
Yes. Say, listen, I'm going to bring you from high tech down to just a stupid problem.
Good.
Can help.
I like that. Thank you.
I used to use Outlook all the time for my email, and I really liked it. And somehow I've gotten trapped with a problem where it's asking me for a password for my my IMAP server.
Okay.
And it's a Gmail and the SM.
Oh, you don't have? Okay.
Gmail.
Yeah.
And it must be. I don't know whether the password is.
It's your Google password.
It's a Google password, but it must be. I've tried every password combination I have, and it doesn't seem to be working.
So, this is almost certainly what's wrong is the port number. So there are two different inbound mail. Actually, there are multiple different kinds of inbound mail. A lot of times people use Outlook are using Microsoft's mail server, which is Exchange. But if you're using anything but Microsoft, you're probably using either a POP. Remember the old POP3 protocol?
Oh,
or more modern times we use IMAP. And that is the kind of these days almost universal email inbound protocol. This is for mail coming to you. Right. Google supports IMAP, imap.gmail.com, but there are two additional settings you want to make sure you get right. It does use SSL, so not TLS. Actually, yes, TLS rather. And it uses port 993. So that's important. You want to use 993, SSL or TLS, and imap.gmail.com. That's for inbound. Outbound is SMTP. That's the other server. That's the outbound server.gmail.com. It also uses SSL, TLS, and its port is 465. If you're going to use Start TTLS, which probably aren't, that's 587. This is documented, though, and I'll put a link at support.google.com. Those have to be right. Then it's your Gmail password, your Gmail login, and that should work. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You also, there's one more thing, which I ran out of time, unfortunately. There's one more thing. You have to go into your Gmail settings and make sure you allow Outlook.
Oh.
You have to, it has to be an authorized app.
Oh, wow.
And so that also could be a problem.
Where do I find these ports you're talking about?
I'm going to put a link in the on the website to support.google.com. If you just actually, you could probably just Google IMAP Gmail settings and you'd find it. But I'll put a link at our website. So that's important to get that right, and then you do have to make sure in Gmail that you say you have to turn on IMAP. It's not on by default, and you have to say Outlook is supported.
Oh wow, yeah. It had a note on here. It said supportgoogle.com accounts answer, and it had a
that's
18.
Well, that may not be the one, but the one I'm looking at is 7166229. But anyway, I'll put a link in the show notes. You have to allow IMAP and then turn on access to less secure applications, the chat room is saying.
Oh, maybe that's it.
Yeah. So you have to let it do it.
Okay. Well, I just switched over to using email and or Gmail, and I don't like it as well as Outlook, but you know, it's got me.
I'm going to make a recommendation. If you continue to have problems with Gmail, I would switch to Fastmail. It's paid, but I think it's a better mail service than Gmail. Fastmail.com.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's not too expensive. Gmail is a weird IMAP implementation. There's just some weird stuff about it.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Yeah. So, you probably had an Exchange server through work.
It could have been.
Outlook generally is used.
I remember the old Exchange servers.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to get back to that, but evidently the server that I'm looking for is on Google, or it's tied to Google.
Oh, interesting. Huh. I used Gmail for years, from the day they started. I got a beta invite, but I switched away from it about 4 years ago because I just like the idea of paying for my email. It's such an important product, such an important part of my life that I think there's a few things I think it's worth paying for, and email's one of them.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, thanks to your recommendation, I'm going to get on iDrive.
Good. They'll be happy.
Yeah, I got a 2 terabyte Seagate server.
I have one of those.
Backup.
Yeah. I have one of those.
The software is just not very good.
Oh, it's awful. I don't use their software. I just use that massive hard drive.
Oh.
You don't have to use their software.
It's easier for me just to go
Get iDrive. iDrive will back up to that Seagate and back up to the cloud. Then you're set.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Pleasure talking to you, Thomas. Have a great day.
Yeah, same here, Leo. You take care, buddy.
Take care. Bye-bye. Hello, Diggity.
Leo, how you doing, pal?
Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thank you. Dennis and I both have our second shots.
Oh, that must feel so good.
Oh, it's great.
It's feeling good to me, too. I just, my son got COVID last week, and he's just really down for the count. Poor kid.
Oh, whoa.
I know. He's got his first shot and everything, but he couldn't hold back. Could you put Dick in my monitor back there? Here we go. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I don't actually know this song. Did Dick DiBartolo, do you know, I didn't know this, but I watched, and you've got to watch, I've been telling you this, the Studio 54, the Bee Gees documentary that features the guy at Studio 54. And he talks about the fact that disco in the early days was cool. And then big business, the record companies came along, and they made everything from disco duck on down and ruined disco. Do you agree with that?
Yes. I used to collect every bizarre disco album.
There were a lot of them.
Ethel Merman does disco.
Yeah, see, not good.
Mae West does disco.
Yeah, everybody jumped on the bandwagon, and that's what ruined disco. Now we can go back to it because all the weirdos have left.
Yes.
And disco is still alive and well. Dick DiBartolo, our disco guy, he's also our gizmo wizard, joins us every week with a gizmo or a gadget. Also Mad Magazine's maddest writer. Another passing, I'm sorry. Was it Ed Jacobs?
No, Frank Jacobs.
Frank Jacobs, that's right.
Frank Jacobs, who did so many of the musicals and song parodies. And was actually sued by Irving Berlin.
Irving lost, no doubt.
He did.
Yeah.
The judge said, Mr. Berlin, they did not publish the music, and you should be happy, Mr. Berlin, that people know the melody.
That's right. They don't have to
and
say.
Can sing these words without seeing the music.
Sung to the tune of I've Got a Gal Who Can't Say No, and everybody knows how to do it. That's a good point.
Exactly.
The judge was right. Weird Al Yankovic in the Washington Post obituary says, I absolutely devoured every issue of Mad, as did I growing up. Frank Jacobs was the big reason for that obsession. He was 91. There's something about Mad Magazine that encourages longevity. Maybe just because you're happy.
Yeah.
You're happy.
I think so. Jaffe's still going at past 100 now.
Amazing.
So
and of course, so's this guy right here. He's not in his 90s yet, but he's still going strong, Mr. Dick DiBartolo. From the usual cast of idiots, what do you have for us today?
Leo, I have it's not a gadget, but it's to hold your gadgets.
A gadget holder? I need that.
Do you know about museum putty?
No. Yes, I do know about museum putty. That's the funniest thing.
Oh, my God.
Do you go up to people at train stations and ask, do you know about museum putty?
No, I usually say, do you know about Quake Hold? Because that sounds a little different.
It's but the same, right? Same idea.
It's for the same thing.
Well, tell us, what is Museum Putty?
Okay, so Quakehold, and I'll tell you how I'm using it, and what I did.
You don't have Quakes in Disneyland?
No, but I have a bunch of little ceramic houses on top of my TV, balanced on a little shelf that hangs off the TV, and I'm always terrified either I'm going to hit it with my elbow or a guest, and so. Basically, Museum Putty is, you get a package of it, incredibly inexpensive, under $4.
Yes.
For 2.5 ounces. And you make it into a little ball or into a strip. It'll depend on what the base of what you are putting it on is.
Yes.
And then so what I did in the little demo is I took a dish. The most expensive dish I have is $20. So I figured, okay, I'll risk this. I put a little bit of Museum Putty, 5 little dots around the dish. I put it on a wooden shelf that was not attached to anything. And then I slowly turned the shelf upside down.
Upside down.
And even though they said it's best if you wait 30 minutes, I didn't wait any time at all. And absolutely no problem. The plate held. But what's neat is when you're done, you rock the plate back and forth until the putty loosens.
It doesn't harden.
It doesn't harden. And then you can take the putty off. If any putty is stuck on it, you take another piece of putty and stick that onto the plate and it pulls the putty off.
So Quakehold both holds and releases.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Well, how much is your 55-inch monitor weigh?
I need Quakehold.
You do. One pack, depending on the base of that monitor, can hold up to 40 pounds.
Wow. So I figure you know about this because you're a sailor.
You know what? I didn't realize it about the boat when I was doing this thing with the dish. And Dennis said, Dick, do you know what this is going to mean for the boat? Oh, my gosh, it's going to be great. Where
everybody I know who has a boat, because boats rock, uses Museum Putty to hold stuff down. Otherwise, it's going to fly all over the place. Same thing for RVs.
Exactly.
It's really that's how I know. Not because I need it, because I just like stuff to fall anyway. But because I watched a lot of videos about boats, everybody uses this stuff on boats. So that's
exactly.
Yeah.
And surprisingly, I have not found one cat endorsing this.
No, cats don't like Quakehold.
No.
So are you going to turn this thing upside down? Are you going to I'm watching your video. You're going to put a plate on a shelf.
Yeah, my plate is on the shelf and I do turn it upside down.
And this is a $20 plate. I just want everybody to know.
A $20 plate. And
that's pretty expensive, Dick. I mean, you don't have any dollar plates?
No. Well, I wanted it to be something expensive, so it would be sort of, people would go,
there's some risk involved.
Yes, exactly. Yes. And the annoying thing is, I looked at the price online, and now every day I get 10 emails. Do you need a cup and saucer to match that plate that you have?
You bought the plate. You got to get the whole thing. What are
Want
you doing?
The gravy boat?
It's so funny. This is about as low tech as we've ever gotten on this show.
Absolutely.
Sticky putty for keeping your things from falling over. But you're right. We need these things.
No, you need this.
You need it. If you got little, like, your bedside table. You probably have, Apple Watch charger, a phone charger, a bunch of stuff. This way you can keep it in place.
No, that is good because when you reach for your phone to get it off the charger, don't you 3 out of 4 times knock the charger off the little table?
Every time.
Yeah.
That's what made me think of it. I have the new iPhone that has a charging puck. And it's ridiculous. Every time it falls off. Every time. I'm always on my hands and knees searching for the puck. Where'd the puck go? So now I can use Quakehold and the puck stands alone. Stands still.
The puck stops there.
The puck stops there. Dick DiBartolo is at gizwiz.biz. If you want to find out more about his silly... Oh, I see you have the Twit logo on your laptop. That's very nice.
Yeah.
I'm watching your video there. If you want to know more about Quakehold, how much is it? Is it cheap?
$4.
$4, folks. Gives you a whole thing of putty.
yeah.
Don't mistake it for Turkish taffy, though. It would.
No, that's exactly what I said when I opened it. I said, Dennis, does this look like Turkish taffy?
Just like Turkish taffy, but it's not. Don't eat it. It's probably not toxic, but still, don't eat it. If you want to find out more about this, watch Dick's video, all of that, go to gizwiz.biz. That's his website, gizwiz.biz. Click the GizWiz Visits the Tech Guy button, and that'll take you to that part of the... By the way, all the stuff he's ever recommended, it's all there. All the things he recommends on World News Now, that's on the GizWiz Visits the World News Now button. There's also a what the heck is it button, a chance for you to win an autographed copy of Mad Magazine by correctly identifying...
Right.
Oh, which one are we playing for?
I made a mistake. It's the June issue.
Okay.
And I just got this advanced copy. And Leo, it's very funny. There's an article I wrote in 1982 called "What If Every Gadget Could Talk?"
They'd say, "Stick me to the shelf."
And it's a man typing, and the typewriter is saying, "ETH, are you trying to type the word the? I can do that for you."
Oh, you invented Microsoft Bob.
Yes, and the refrigerator. Lady's leaving her room, and the refrigerator says, "Hey, you need milk and eggs."
Dick T. Bartolo, gizwiz.biz. We'll see you next week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWIT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on Mac Break Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security and Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.